The views and opinions of the host and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. Cancer deaths on the rise. The health minister says more focus needed on preventative care. And the prime minister says the Bahamas is facing a health crisis. Ground broken on a new Cat Island airport. And today's World TB Day. We are talking about tuberculosis in the Bahamas. What you need to know. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. Welcome to Morning Blend on this Friday, March 24th, 2023. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Stephen Hanna will be joining us. Also this morning, we're going to be talking with our friend Quincy Parker about something special he's doing to demystify public speaking. And later in our 9 o'clock hour, Morning Blend, our monthly morning brand series, we're going to be looking at the messaging of and the marketing of the Bahamas to investors and others in regards to women and whether we are sending mixed messages or not practicing what we preach. We're going to get into all of that coming up, as it is Women's Month this month. That's straight ahead, but first it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while you were sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, approximately 1 in every 500 Bahamians has been diagnosed with a cancer, according to the 2019 National Non-Communicable Disease Risk Factor STEP Survey. The results released on Wednesday. The report shows that data from the National Cancer Registry informs that the combined cancer prevalence in 2019 was 182.4 per 100,000. And that in the Bahamas, deaths from cancers, all types, have been increasing year over year. In 2000, the cancer mortality rate was 71.5 per 100,000, or 13.6% per of deaths. In 2015, though, that rate stood at 111.7 per 100,000, or 18.6%. Cancer mortality rates are not available for 2019. That report also noting that cervical cancer, which carries an unacceptable and disproportionately high disease burden, considering 92% of HPV-associated cancers are preventable, and so that in this country in 2018, the age-standardized incidence of cervical cancer was 10.9 per 100,000, compared to an ASI of 13.1 per 100,000 for the rest of the world. The World Health Organization admonishes all countries to accelerate action toward eliminating cervical cancer and to reach an incidence rate not greater than 4 per 100,000 in the population. Meanwhile, Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Michael Darville says there has to be more focus on preventative medical care in the Bahamas following the release of that survey. Darville said the government is committed to effecting meaningful change. Darville saying that his government intends to turn the corner, and his team of healthcare professionals will work along with the Pan American Health Organization, the Healthy Bahamas Coalition, and private sector groups and specialists in the country to ensure that this happens. Prime Minister Philip Davis also speaking on the health crisis facing the nation. This as the Ministry of Health launched its Your Wellness Matters campaign at Bahamar yesterday. The Prime Minister said the Ministry of Health and Wellness will use the campaign as one of the key drivers to help Bahamians make changes to their lives to improve their health. The campaign will include programs to facilitate and encourage more active lifestyles, educate on mental health strategies, and destigmatize seeking therapy, as well as provide wellness activities in each community on each island and engage school children at all grade levels through specific programs tailored for their age groups. Officials breaking ground on a New Bight International Airport in Cat Island, with Prime Minister Davis saying he hopes the airport marks the return of foreign air service into the island. He says it's going to be a Tier 2 airport and will serve as a port of entry with customs and immigration services, and will be equipped with a state-of-the-art fire station. He says the design is modern and sustainable and features solar panels, smart lighting, and rainwater collection. And he says the history and culture of the country and the island will be on full display as well. Prime Minister telling reporters that the airport will cost between $8 million and $10 million and will be completed within 18 months to 2 years. 3 men suspected of robbing a woman at gunpoint outside a bank, making their first court appearance. 30-year-old Cleophas Smith and 20-year-olds Michael Pratt and Roberto Moxie, standing accused of robbing Charlene King of $1,800 on March 17th. According to police, King was held up outside a bank in Westridge by a lone gunman. The robber escaped in a white SUV that police on patrol spotted in Jubilee Gardens. That vehicle crashed during the subsequent police chase, and the men allegedly shot at police as they tried to escape. In the process, police shot Moxie. Smith, Pratt, and Moxie are accused of the armed robbery of King. They're also charged with possession of 2 handguns and 16 rounds of 9mm ammunition. They're also charged with the armed robbery of Scar Jupp, who was robbed of his white Suzuki SUV and a watch worth $150 in Elizabeth Estates. Police believe that Jupp's vehicle was used as the getaway vehicle in the armed robbery of King. Smith saying that he was at home in compliance with his bail curfew when Jupp was robbed. Additionally, Pratt is charged by himself with the February 3rd armed robbery of Brendan Gins. Gins was robbed at gunpoint of $12,000 by a man whom prosecutors say is Pratt. The men were not required to enter pleas to the charges when they appeared before Magistrate Algernon Allen Jr. yesterday. Bail was denied and they returned to court on May 30th to receive a voluntary bill of indictment. And a group protesting outside the Bahamas consulate in Miami, prompting the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to release a statement claiming that the protest was based on a, quote, false premise. That protest led by Coalition of Independence leader Lincoln Bain. While taking questions from a reporter during the protest, Bain said the group was protesting inhumane treatment by the Bahamian government. He went on to describe his arrest for unlawful assembly during the CARICOM Heads of Government meeting in February, claiming that it was unlawful. Bain said, quote, instead of allowing our people to peacefully protest like we are doing right here, right now, they decided to silence the Bahamian people. At the protest, which was streamed live on Facebook, Bain and approximately 40 protesters stood with duct tape over their mouths. While speaking to the reporter, Bain said the reason his group protests in the Bahamas is because the country is under an invasion. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs saying that the consulate remained open despite the protest. In the statement, Foreign Affairs saying, quote, there are people who claim to be Bahamian activists who are demonstrating in the precincts of the Bahamas consulate in Miami. They are protesting against what they say is the denial of their right to demonstrate during the CARICOM Heads of Government meeting. in the Bahamas in mid-February. Every Bahamian citizen has the right to demonstrate in the Bahamas. They are therefore operating on a false premise. If that is their cause, they are misrepresenting Bahamian law. What we know is that there are several figures who were arrested within the precincts of the conference because they had breached the security cordon of the meeting. The facts are that under an assumed name, an individual connected to the Miami demonstrators, known to the police to be a security threat, checked into the hotel where the conference was about to take place and where several heads of government were staying, including the Haitian Prime Minister. Bain saying, though, that his group ended their protest after about 2 hours. Overseas, French President Emmanuel Macron his office saying today that a state visit by Britain's King Charles III has been postponed amid mass strikes and protests in France. The king had been scheduled to arrive in France on Sunday on his first state visit as monarch before heading to Germany on Wednesday. Government in France saying in a statement that the British governments made the decision together after a call between Macron and Charles on Friday morning, noting a new day of mass strikes and protests were planned. Well, protesters angry at President Macron's pension reforms continued with scattered actions today amid slowed train traffic, rows of trucks blocking access to Marseille's commercial port, and debris still littering the Paris streets following the previous day's mass demonstrations. Over 450 protesters were arrested in Paris and beyond on Thursday, and some 300 demonstrations drew more than 1 million people nationwide to protest against unpopular pension reforms. The Interior Minister saying today that some 441 police officers were injured as violence marred some marches. He said that 1,000 trash bins were set on fire in the French capital during the previous day's action. Amid a weeks-long strike by garbage collectors, trash bins have become a symbol of the protest. Polls say most French oppose Macron's bill to increase the retirement age from 62 to 64, which he says is necessary to keep the system afloat. Meanwhile, the supply of fuel to Paris by one large refinery in Normandy resumed today after police intervened, fearing disruptions in coming days as actions continue. France's Civil Aviation Authority has requested that a third of flights be canceled Sunday at Paris's second airport, Orly, with 20% to be canceled on Monday. And China threatening, quote, serious consequences today after the U.S. Navy sailed a destroyer around the disputed Paracel Islands in the South China Sea for the second day in a row, in a move that Beijing claimed was a violation of its sovereignty and security. The warning comes amid growing tensions between China and the United States in the region as Washington pushes back at Beijing's growingly assertive posture in the South China Sea, a strategic waterway it claims virtually in its entirety. China. On Thursday, after the U.S. sailed the USS Milius guided missile destroyer near the Paracel Islands, China said its Navy and Air Force had forced the American vessel away, a claim the U.S. military denies. The U.S. today sailing the ship again near the islands, which are occupied by China, but also claimed by Taiwan and Vietnam, as part of what it called a freedom of navigation operation, challenging requirements from all three nations, requiring either advance notification or permission before a military vessel sails by. And North Korea claiming today to have tested a nuclear-capable underwater drone designated to generate a gigantic radioactive tsunami, their words, that would destroy naval strike groups and ports. Analysts are skeptical that the device presents a major new threat, but the test underlines the North's commitment to raising nuclear threats. The test this week coming as the United States reportedly planned to deploy aircraft carrier strike groups and other advanced assets to waters off the Korean peninsula. Military tensions are at a high point as the pace of both North Korean weapons tests and U.S.-South Korea joint military exercises has accelerated in the past year in a cycle of tit-for-tat responses. Pyongyang's official Korean Central News Agency says the new weapon, which can be deployed from the coast or towed by surface ships, is built to, quote, stealthily infiltrate into operational waters and make a superscale radioactive tsunami through an underwater explosion. and it says that that's capable of destroying enemy naval strike groups and ports. That report coming hours after or before South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol pledged to make North Korea pay for its reckless provocations as he attended a remembrance service honoring 55 South Korean troops killed during major clashes with the North near the Western Sea border in past years. In sports, Blue Chip Athletics continues to produce some of the top throwers in the country and even the region, getting young Bahamian athletes qualified and prepared for major international competitions. The 50th Oak Tree Carifta Games, just 2 weeks away now, set for the Easter holiday weekend, April 8th through 10th, right here in Nassau. The final local qualifier, the Bahamas National High School Track and Field Championships and Carifta Trials, will be held this weekend, March 25th through 27th. There are more than 40 qualifiers for the Bahamas' team, and throwers, particularly Blue Chip Athletics and Air Assault athletes, occupy a significant portion of those qualifiers. Air Assault is a branch of the Blue Chip Athletics Throwing Club, catering solely to javelin throwers. Read more about this in today's Guardian Sports section. And it's been a busy week for Bahamians on the collegiate tennis circuit, and the season has less than a month of action left. Jacoby Bain and the Xavier University of Louisiana Gold Rush team shutting out the Millsaps College 7-0 on Tuesday, extending their winning streak at home to 28 consecutive matchups. Bain played at the number one singles and easily took care of John Kimball 6-1 and 6-0. You read more about it in today's Guardian Sports section. From the Sweet 16 NCAA basketball action, Gonzaga beating UCLA 79-6. KSU beating MSU 98-93 in overtime. And Florida Atlantic making its first Elite Eight, beating Tennessee. FAU is going to play third-seeded Kansas. FAU is ninth-seeded. They're going to play Kansas in the East Regional Final in Madison Square Garden on Saturday. By the way, FAU beating Tennessee 62-55. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. Your first look at weather for this morning. We've got high pressure that continues to be the main weather feature across the country. Beachgoers, though, should still exercise caution as there's a risk of rip currents along north and east. Your forecast for today for all areas, mostly sunny and warm with a slight chance of isolated passing showers, becoming fair and warm tonight in the northwest Bahamas, variably cloudy and a bit breezy with a few isolated showers in the central and southeast Bahamas. For boaters, small craft should exercise caution due to swells. Winds east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots with occasional gusts in the northwest and central islands. Northeast to east at 15 to 20 knots in the southeast Bahamas. Seas 2 to 4 feet, but higher in light northeasterly swells along Atlantic exposures in the northwest and central islands. and 4 to 6 feet, but higher in moderate northeasterly swells in the southeastern islands. It's about 71 degrees right now in Nassau. Looking at fair skies. Highs getting up to around 82 Fahrenheit, 28 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 66 Fahrenheit, 19 Celsius. That's a look at weather this morning. We'll have an extended outlook coming up after traffic in just a bit. It is time for break, but when we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9, your home for fresh news and smart talk all day.
My business couldn't survive without my credit card machine from Fidelity.
It's fast, convenient, and my clients love it.
My sales increase, and I can track my earnings.
Get your credit card machine from Fidelity today.
Call 356-7764.
At Doctors Hospital, our lamp just got brighter. The Loyalty Advantage membership program now has 3 unique plans to choose from. From Lamp Prepaid with free prime care visits and service line discounts, Lamp Insured with copay waivers and 0 upfront collections at the ER and inpatient services, or our new Lamp Access, a free plan that offers 10% off lab, pharmacy, and imaging. Lamp has a plan for everyone. To sign up, visit our website or give us a call. Doctors Hospital, trusted and best care now.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
When faced with an illness like cancer, we band together, and we at Cleveland Clinic in Florida have your back. From advanced cancer treatments to extra safety measures at all of our locations, we're with you on this journey. For every infusion and follow-up, for every step of the way, for every care in the world. Cleveland Clinic in Florida. Get the care you need when and where you need it. To learn more or connect with a local representative, visit clevelandclinic.org/Caribbean.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's there. It's the start of end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. 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 Wake up, wake up.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Float Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line, powered by BTC, 422-4796. Standard text rate supply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Joining me now, Stephen Hanna. Stephen Hanna, good morning.
Hey, morning, what's good?
Great to have you with us as always. A lot to get to on this Friday morning. It is World TB Day, tuberculosis. We're going to be talking about that this morning. And then later in our 8 o'clock hour, we're going to be talking with Quincy Parker. He has a special event coming up. It's called, pronouncing it, Eloquence, like Quincy, Eloquence. The Secret Sauce, Public Speaking Demystified. He's going to tell us about that this morning. And later in our business hour, 9 o'clock, it's Morning Brand, our monthly segment. We're talking about the brand image, especially in this Women's Month, with women, and whether some of our laws, our Constitution, conflicts with the image we might be trying to portray out there. We're going to get into all of that this morning. So a lot to get to on this Friday morning. Let's begin, though, with what else is in the news. And before we get into the news, just want to say we're going to be giving away our last 2 tickets here this morning for the big event tomorrow with Bristol Wines and Spirits and Premier Crew and Duckhorn. Their Spring Soiree Grand Tasting tomorrow evening. We've got 2 tickets to give away this morning, so we've got some trivia questions, or a trivia question for you to get 2 tickets in just a few minutes. So stay tuned for that. Put your thinking caps on for that one. All right, so the big headline in the National Guardian: cancer deaths on the rise. This is all coming out of the report we told you about yesterday, the STEPS survey, the 2019 National Non-Communicable Disease Risk Factors STEPS survey. The findings released on Wednesday. And since then, about health issues in the country. The Prime Minister launch of the Your Wellness Matters campaign yesterday, saying that the country is facing a health crisis. Dr. Michael Darville in the House, the health minister, talking about this earlier in the week. And he's also saying the government and the country needs to put more focus on preventative medical care in the Bahamas. But there's something very interesting about this cancer story. And if you listen to the show, you know we've had doctors on multiple times talking about this, and yet here we are. Cervical cancer. The report makes a special note about cervical cancer, which carries an unacceptable, this is what the report says, an unacceptable and disproportionately high disease burden, considering 92% of HPV-associated cancers are preventable. And HPV is the virus that causes most cervical cancers, right? And there's a vaccine for that, and yet here we are. The report says in the Bahamas in 2018, the age-standardized incidence, that's ASI, of cervical cancer was 10.9 per 100,000, compared to an ASI of 13.1 per 100,000 for the rest of the world. And the World Health Organization, the WHO, has been admonishing all countries to accelerate action toward eliminating cervical cancer and to reach an incidence rate not greater than 4 per 100,000 population. And the report says a ready tool to eradicate cervical cancer is the HPV vaccine, which was introduced into the Bahamian immunization schedule since 2015. The vaccine is documented to have exceptional protection, a high efficacy and effectiveness against HPV infection, genital warts, high-grade cervical lesions, and invasive adenocarcinoma, more so when the vaccine is administered before sexual debut. The HPV virus does not only cause health problems in females, but it also causes genital, anal, oropharyngeal, all the big words, but that's throat cancers. That's what they're trying to say. It's a lot of big words there. In men. So genital, anal, and throat cancers in men. Breast cancer is the most prevalent in the Bahamas, though, followed by prostate, colorectal, cervical, and stomach. Well, depending on who you ask, that order changes. But those are the things we're dealing with here. Okay, so let's talk about that briefly before we get to some other issues in the news. This is one that we can largely prevent. And yet here we are. What is that about? Why are so many people reluctant to vaccinate their children against HPV?
You want the answer?
Yeah, I mean, do you know the answer?
I know the answer.
Okay.
I mean, part of it is bad parents who are just like straight up, I don't have time for this. Part of it is parents who are just like, I don't have time to do this.
You don't have time to get your kids vaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
And then the other part of it is parents who think that they're good parents, but they're not. Because they're like, oh, vaccines has cost this and that or whatever. And they don't trust any vaccine, not realizing, well, you know what it is? That's that weird middle group of parents. Because I feel like parents who are like in their 50s and 60s, they know that like vaccines are the only reason why they're still alive today. But these new set who are like, the internet tells me this. Like, they're gonna cause a giant outbreak very shortly. And it won't be like in the inner city. It'll be inside only at these elite private school nurseries.
Okay. Lots of
no, I wish I was joking. I'm not speculating at all.
Well,
I'm
okay.
very
So what are we going to do? What are we going to do about it? Should the government make this?
It is mandatory. No, not for the HPV one, but I'm talking about like even like the basic ones.
Let's talk about that. HPV. Should the government make that mandatory?
People can't differentiate. They hear the word vaccine, and I promise you somebody's going to call in and talk about COVID.
Who gives a crap? What are we going to do about this? Cervical cancer. And all the other stuff that people can get. Should the government make it mandatory?
I mean, they could.
You're seeing the numbers rise, higher than other parts of the world. Doctors are in here basically crying when they tell us about what they've seen and apparently what they smell, because it's so grotesque.
Yeah, because you're rotting away.
Yeah, and yet here we are, and people making stupid excuses about what they've, we've heard that one. I don't want to encourage anybody to have sex, because, like, why would that lead to that? It makes no sense at all. So what do we do? Or did we just not care? Is that what's going on here? Tell us what you think. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Maybe you're a parent. Why haven't you vaccinated your kid, boy and girl, against HPV?
I think it is exactly what you just said. Like, people are like, oh, this is going to encourage the child to have sex.
How would that happen? Why would that happen? Like, would they even know? I mean, they're good, and likely they were going to do it anyway. What?
I mean, at some point you'd hope.
But, well, why would that do that? But people keep saying it, but no one can explain why you think that would work.
Oh,
why?
You know why? It's because that's what they were doing when they were 12.
But why would getting the vaccine suddenly?
It wouldn't, Dwight.
Okay.
It wouldn't. You're trying to induce logic out of something that isn't necessarily logical.
So again, should the government make this mandatory?
They could, and I promise you that people will fight back against it. But whatever.
Why would they? For what? How?
Fight back against everything.
What are you going to say? Because you love cervical cancer and genital warts?
They're going to say, "Oh, this is just a ploy." Everything is a ploy. So it don't matter. The government can make people aware of it. There can be shows to explain the importance of these things and the danger of things or whatever. But at the end of the day, it is for persons to ask themselves, what are they really afraid of? All right? And it's like, if you're afraid of something, you have to face your fear head on. Pretending it doesn't exist, or like, oh, we got to cloak everything, like, that's not going to change anything. So, but yeah, I mean, if it was Steven, a lot of things will be mandatory. But, Stephen is a different sort of person.
Well, there's silence everywhere. Text line, Twitter, phones. Nobody wants to talk about it, but I guarantee you this topic will get everybody talking because that's what the people around here like to do. Don't mind everyone dying of cancer and stuff. Who cares? But, hey, there was a group protesting outside the Bahamas consulate in Miami yesterday. Lincoln Bain and the Coalition of Independence there to show and let the world know about what they say, the inhumane treatment of Bahamians by the Bahamian government. He told reporters who asked about his arrest for unlawful assembly during the CARICOM Heads of Government meeting in February. He said, quote, instead of allowing our people to protest peacefully like we are doing right here, right now, they decided to silence the Bahamian people. At the protest, which was streamed live on Facebook, Bain and about 40 protesters stood with duct tape over their mouths. While speaking to a reporter, Bain said that the reason his group protests in the Bahamas is because the country is under an invasion. He said, quote, we have no problem with immigration because Bahamians immigrate, but we have a problem with illegal immigration. I don't think that's a unique view of anyone in the world. But, okay. But the Ministry of Foreign Affairs issued a statement that quite a few took issue with. But let's read that statement for you. Now, so it said the Bahamas consulate in Miami is open for business, and all staff at the embassy are safe and accounted for. There are people who claim to be Bahamian activists who are demonstrating in the precincts of the Bahamas consulate in Miami today. They are protesting against what they say is the denial of their right to demonstrate during the CARICOM Heads of Government meeting in the Bahamas in mid-February. Every Bahamian citizen has the right to demonstrate in the Bahamas. They are therefore operating on a false premise if that is their cause. They are misrepresenting Bahamian law. What we know is that there are several figures who were arrested within the precincts of the conference before they had breached the security cordon of the meeting. The facts are that under an assumed name, an individual connected to the Miami demonstrators, known to the police to be a security threat, checked into the hotel where the conference was about to take place and where several heads of government were staying, including the Haitian Prime Minister. The individual had earlier published a video in which he fired an illegal assault weapon and threatened to kill Haitians. When these facts are known, the authorities interdicted him and stopped any planned actions on his part. That's the end of the press release from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Okay.
Let's just link up with anybody, boy.
Let's get your reaction to that one there. Quite a few have been wondering why do a protest like this in Miami. What was the point? What would be the point? But some see it as, like he said, if we just wanted to do a peaceful protest like we're doing right now, what's the big deal? But you hear the Ministry of Foreign Affairs saying that's not quite all the facts there.
It never is, Dwight. It never is. Like, anyway, and every day, and they're going to be on the streets tomorrow probably, begging for dollars on the side of the road.
Okay, thank you. Let's get your reaction, folks. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796, 422-4796. All right, so the phone lines, yes, as expected. And the messages. Got one vaccine message, wow. Good morning. I think the vaccine should be made mandatory and it should be given at the time of entering senior school. That's too late. It's too late. Senior school, like grade 10? You know where you are?
You're for 12, right?
Sorry?
Well, no, I mean...
Yeah, that's senior school. That's too late. It needs to be before junior and probably even in primary. Right? That's what they're saying. So that's too late. But I mean, it's better than nothing. But the reason it's too late is because so many people are sexually active by then. That's what I mean. A lot of people aren't, but many are, and you need to do it before.
Right.
Before. So, unfortunately, yeah, it's going to be some people in primary school. Absolutely.
Which is like a worrisome situation for other reasons.
Why?
No, I mean, like, the thing that people are concerned about is like, yes, your concern is valid in terms of children shouldn't be sexually active, but that's a different battle on a different front.
Ooh, I almost said something terrible. Oh boy. We're on the radio.
I said that's a different battle.
Yeah. I was gonna. I'll tell you off here what I was about to say.
Don't drag me into your for people to be like, what did Dwight say? I don't know.
Oh, good Lord. Okay, let's take this call. Good morning, call. You're on the air.
Morning, Dwight.
Hi, good morning. Good morning.
Your co-host. I listened to your co-host downplaying these guys who are trying to make a difference, I mean, if our elected leaders are not acting as we want them to, why are you downplaying or tomorrow?
Who are you downplaying?
For donations or whatever the case. They have a cause. You know how we got independence? We had a cause. Okay? And to listen to the Foreign Affairs statement that the gentleman or whoever he is a security risk. He's saying that now. It's come on, man. What kind of nonsense is that? If he's a security risk, you think he would have been able to travel over there or to even be free in the Bahamas?
Wait, stop. Pause. Pause. The person who is the security risk, who do you think it is?
You tell me.
No, because you're defending it. Who do you think it is? Before we tell you who it is, who do you think it is?
We don't need to. Nobody needs to speculate. But anyway, let's just.
No. The gentleman clearly stated in his retort that this gentleman was seen with a gun shooting in the air.
That's a statement from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
They identified who the person was. Let's not be smart about this. This nonsense. I'm a Bahamian and I listen to these shows, right? And every time, listen, the messenger. Don't worry about him. It's the message thread. Okay? And y'all are killing it. And I'm one of the people.
No, the problem, caller, is both the messenger and the message. The message is very, very close to encouraging violence.
What is not close to? It is encouraging violence.
So that's very scary. Now, we all agree with what basically?
I don't even know if I take
No, I mean, something has to be done about the illegal immigration issue. Something has to be done. But what is being encouraged is dangerous and reckless and could get somebody hurt.
Listen, not most, I can't speak for Bahamians, right? But I feel the same way he feels. I feel like these guys have been glossing over, and I supported both parties. And let me tell you something, I'm very disappointed in all of our former prime ministers, man, because all of these guys sat in this big lofty office and allow all this nonsense to happen. Not only this, but this is a cause for Bahamians to stand up together and fight for. If you guys, boy, you say you drive from east wherever you go to the Guardian. If you guys drive this country out in the night or in the evening, you will see the amount of strangers, and you can tell.
How can I tell?
It's no way you can't tell.
How can I tell?
This Stephen or something, right?
Yeah, of course it's Stephen or something. I'm asking you, how can I tell? I'm asking you a genuine question because you're saying that I can, I guess, smell a Haitian. How can I tell? Listen, sir, don't play smart with me. How can I tell a stranger? I just want him to tell me how I can tell a stranger.
This is how you always tie these conversations up because you keep coming with different angles.
It's not a different angle.
That I'm a passionate Bahamian. I'm over 50. And
Congratulations.
I've been, watching this thing happen. And right now, we're losing our country. I'm sorry. I appreciate them taking my call. Thanks.
Okay. All right.
I just wanted to know how we can tell a stranger in the dark driving along the roads. No, because the thing is, right?
Let us not
No. The reason you have to harp on it because the thing is, every time something like that slips through, then some other idiot calls and repeats it. All right? He's saying these things because they like to repeat the nonsense they hear. They like to repeat all this little hatred and vile garbage. All right? What is he looking at? What is he? How can he tell? The person's too dark? Their nose is too wide? What is it? What is the reason that he can look in the dark and say, oh, that person don't belong here?
Okay.
I'd like to know.
Let's take this call. Good morning, call. You're on the air.
Because Dwight, it starts like that. And then tomorrow, it could be like, oh, Stephen hair too curly. Dwight don't have no hair. He must he's a Haitian.
Everybody
get to go home.
This call.
Stephen, Dwight.
Hi, good morning, call. You're on the air.
Yeah, Dwight, we need justice, law, and order in this country. Dwight, let me say something, please. Now, the Foreign Affairs should not have sent that kind of message because everybody heard what happened pertaining to the group Lincoln and those the other day when they talked about the gun. Okay? If Lincoln was had established any type of crime, they would have locked him up. He would have had to pay a fine or something that would go to prison. These people in this country are indecent. Everybody knows that we are losing this country because of the bunch of illegal that comes into this country. And Dwight, you shouldn't make the kind of statement in which you made a while ago.
What did I say?
This is your country also.
What did I say?
You should fight to keep it.
What did I say?
You know what you're saying.
No, I didn't. I don't think you heard right or seen right. So I don't know what you're talking about. What did I say? Okay. Anyway,
Dwight, you didn't
so
hear
as expected, ain't nobody care about people with cancer in the country.
Of course
When you're
not.
talking about all this, right? So that I knew. We knew that was going to
You
happen.
know why, Dwight?
It's just
because they
great,
rather
great,
fight
wonderful.
a boogeyman that doesn't
That's
exist
typical. All right, let's get your text message.
than stop eating bacon. That's the truth.
What did I say?
Dwight, it
I
doesn't
asked
matter what you
questions.
said.
I said not a thing. I'm asking questions.
I asked a question.
But he
too.
did make a great point. This government is very hypocritical, right? You're going to say all these things about people being a threat, but he has not been charged with anything yet, and he's not locked up. He's all over the place. So which one is it?
Was it him?
You said that the impersonating immigration officers, you said nonsense like this before, the stuff with the guns, and all these other things, but no charges have been placed. So what is up with that? That is very weird. Now, again, we might not agree with his methods, but stop with the foolishness. Everybody around here is playing stupid. Everybody.
Oh.
And it's very annoying. It's very sickening. When will that stop? And that's why we're exactly where we are. And yeah, we might be losing the country indeed, because I think everybody else recognizes how silly we are. And they're like, take advantage of these clowns. Take advantage of them because they don't know what the heck they're doing.
If that's why we lose the country, but go ahead.
Ah, boy. Anyway, okay. Maybe the cancer should. Anyway, this person says here they will not get any sympathy in Miami because when people hear their leaders could be harmed, they will only show the Bahamas did the right thing, locking them up. Okay. This one says here the Foreign Affairs Minister is flat out lying. They made up the threat. Who in the world thinks anyone over here will try and harm the Haitian Prime Minister? Oh, yeah? Okay. Well, I mean, they're going to say, hey, our own Prime Minister got several death threats just a few weeks before. Mm-hmm. And so they're going to point to that. Tell Stephen you can go right now to Cowpen Road and tell him to stop playing semantics.
What semantics? Where am I going to... Anyway.
You want to hear this? That statement from Foreign Affairs is filled with lies. Stephen Hanna, you make me sick. I wish you can go away and never come back with your ignorance.
Cool.
Okay.
Any death threats in there?
Lord, not yet. Sounds like Fred Mitchell wrote that garbage of a press release, and holier than thou, smartest man in the world, Stephen, calling people idiots. Wow. This person says here, Dwight and Stephen, let's start the show again so that we can reduce the temperature. Oh, goodness. I wish.
Okay.
Can we just make it Saturday? Can we just make it Saturday?
No,
right
Dwight.
now?
We could talk about HPV. And
Yeah,
clearly
yeah,
everybody
I'll
would be
bring down
like,
the
everybody would be
temperature.
like, oh, I don't want to talk about that. I don't care about the fact that my genitals are falling off because I'm too afraid to take a vaccine. I don't care that my child is going to die of throat cancer in 10 years because I'm too scared for them to get a vaccine. You know what we should talk about? Let's talk about Haitians. Somebody that half of these people who are upset and are screaming about this, they talk about go down, Cowpen.
What?
No, I'm saying half of them. I was going to talk about because they don't know who their granddaddy is.
Oh,
right. So half of them probably have all us got some blood in us, right? From wherever it may come from. All these people talking about, oh, the strangers and all this different stuff. All us were strangers at one point. But that's neither here nor there. Half of them don't interact with Haitians on a daily basis. All right? Dwight, and they're free to tell me wrong.
Highly impossible now in the Bahamas.
No, it's not.
Oh, yes.
It's not?
Highly.
To interact?
Highly.
Okay, if you say
impossible.
So. If you say so, Dwight.
Impossible. Do they live by themselves in a cave? That's the only way.
They go to work and they go home.
Oh, please.
And then they come home and they're frustrated with life and they're like, oh.
No.
Darn Haitians.
No, you are incorrect, sir. And there's nothing wrong with it. But I mean,
here's the thing.
But you are incorrect.
I don't think I'm incorrect.
That's very impossible.
I'm talking with the people who
Not
are taxing
today.
it. Not today?
No.
You don't think today?
No.
Okay, well, Dwight thinks I'm wrong.
You're very wrong.
I'm certain that all the taxes think I'm wrong.
Very wrong.
Okay, Dwight.
You've never been wronger. You've been wrong a lot, but you've never been wronger than this.
Why do you feel so passionately about
Oh,
this?
my God. Please stop.
I'm sorry.
Please stop.
What's happening with you? You good?
That's a crazy statement.
Is it?
There's no way.
Okay, Dwight, if you say so.
No way.
Okay.
Not in the Bahamas in 2023.
Dwight says that 80% of the Bahamas is Haitian.
I didn't say that.
That's what it sounds like.
No,
you're saying.
I didn't say that.
Why
But I'm saying there's no way that you could go,
at
if you are not living by yourself, locked up in a cell, for you to not be interacting. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Not today.
I have. I go day by day.
As you said, you just don't know who's what. And maybe that's why you said that.
But see, that's the thing. If I don't know who's what, who is who, and what's what, right? Then how are you making these definitive thoughts and statements? Because somebody looks weird, Dwight? Because somebody can speak Creole?
That's not it.
I know people who are, they are 5 generations back Bahamian who can speak Creole.
No, that's not it, Stephen. But anyway, that's fine.
But I'm saying you feel
agree to
very,
disagree.
You're very passionate about this, and I'm saying that that's not been my experience. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe my anecdotal evidence is incorrect.
Super wrong.
But you're telling me that I just don't know that they're Haitians because they're secret, I don't know, covert intelligence to take it over the country or something.
No, and I don't like the direction we're going in. But let's just step back. But you're wrong, though. But anyway.
You don't like the direction we're going in, but let me get my last stated. You're incorrect. I'm correct. Because both of us have presented the exact same amount of evidence, which is none.
Okay. But trust me, you're wrong.
Why do you keep saying that?
We'll get to these callers in a bit. This person says, so we're going back and forth between the vaccine, the immigration issue. So then primary school, but no entry before that vaccination. Let it not be an option. No, and okay. So you need to prove that you've got the vaccine before you go to school. That's not bad. Sure. This person says, I don't think the leader of the party should go to another country to protest over what happens in your own country relative to immigration matters. Most things Lincoln does in the past for the country's sake, I had no problem with, but I have a problem with him participating in that protest. Okay. Another person here. You want to be a human, people need a university degree now to understand culture. What? Okay. Dwight, obviously your co-host, doesn't live in the Bahamas or is under a rock or lives over the hill. If you live over the hill, it's in your face. You hear the language, the culture, the dress, etc. Stop showing or taking us for idiots. We are not.
Okay.
This one says here, cancer is alarming indeed, but the Bahamian people are idiots, is the text, because they keep eating fast food and welcome their new locations. Why do we continue to approve the development of fast food chains? Let's start there. Hey, everything in moderation, and you need exercise, and you have to have balance, right? So that's important. But this is a slightly different cancer. This one is a sexually transmitted one, right? And there are vaccines to prevent it.
Okay, I think it's because you said colorectal.
You said they're talking about the other cancers. I mean, they were talking about cancers in general, but the report singled out cervical, which is preventable, largely preventable.
I mean, they're all preventable.
Not in the same way as cervical is.
No,
like you can,
there isn't a vaccine for colorectal
right,
cancer.
There is definitely not. Dwight, please, Stephen is being an expletive. The illegal immigration issue is the most pressing issue right now.
Say the word, Dwight.
We have been talking about the overweight, unhealthy Bahamians forever, and it's just getting worse.
Have we?
Well, both are getting worse. Both issues are getting worse, right? If there were a vaccine to stop illegal immigration, people would want to take it, right? No? This person says here, you don't drive the narrative of what's important to the Bahamian people with your highfalutin attitude, but that's not how they spelled it. But they're talking to you, Stephen.
To the pedantic person who corrected their spelling inside the text is telling me that they're talking to
No,
me.
they said Stephen.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm letting them know that the pedantic
The
person.
word they
Listen who's making fun of your spelling.
I just have to interpret.
Uh-huh.
It's a lot of work, reading text messages.
One of us is making fun of your spelling.
I'm not making fun. I'm just saying it looked like flatulent, but they meant falutin. This person says here, where are you to interact? Dwight, where are you to interact with so many Haitians? You have a serious deal with Stephen. Your attitude on Fridays are crazy. Which ones? What's the issue? I have a problem with Stephen. Yes. That's why my attitude is crazy on Fridays. And where am I to interact with so many Haitians?
On a daily basis.
New Providence. Okay. Cancer, Dwight, really?
Where?
What does that have to do with illegal immigrants? Oh, my God. Okay. Wow. Stephen was a... If Stephen was a Bahamian, he would know the difference. If Bain did a crime, he wouldn't have entered the U.S. That press release was garbage.
That's not what they said. Read the full thing what they said. Read what they said.
I can't read all this.
No, read it.
No, it's not.
Dwight, how will I know what to tell the police whenever who attacks me? And we're going to save all these numbers. If I get attacked on the street, I'm going to give all these numbers to the police.
No one's going to bother you.
Oh, no one's going to bother me? You think that these psychopaths will attack me on the side of the road?
No.
Have you watched the video of them interacting with police who have guns?
Not our good texters. Stop. Let's take some calls. Good morning,
caller. Who won't talk about education and won't talk about health care, but they love to talk about Haitians.
Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
They're the best. Take it away, caller.
Morning, Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
What a Friday show. I'm not going to talk too long because I was holding on myself. But I just want to pick up from where the last caller called when he said, never mind the messenger, but listen to the message or something like that. I just wanted to say to him, how could you separate? How can you take a separation when the messenger is the message? The message is the messenger. That's it. I'm just going to leave on that.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Let's take another call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning. I want to call in and speak about two issues. One, the HPV situation. Bahamian, are lackadaisical when it comes to dealing with sex issues. And they don't mind walking around with these genital stuff. So if that's their problem, that's their problem. I'm going to vaccinate myself, my wife, my kids, the whole 9 yards. But on another light, your co-host, I want you guys to know one thing. I am in no way supportive of the coalition. I'm in no way supportive of Lincoln Bain. If I'm in the same room with Lincoln Bain, I chew up, especially when it comes to immigration, okay? But the immigration problem in this country is not a coalition problem, okay? It's a problem of government years and years and decades who run from the issues. I am a Bahamian that has 4 daughters that were born in the Bahamas, okay? To me, as a Bahamian man, carrying my last name, and to a foreigner, and I have to go in and pay for belongings. The devil is a liar. I'm not going to be taxed in my own country. That's number one. Number two, your co-host needs to be fair.
Sorry, 1 second. You said you're married?
No, I'm not married.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right, but guess what?
Yeah.
When we talk about women's suffrage in the Bahamas, we need to start a man's suffrage. A movement in the Bahamas. We are spineless men because we are not speaking of. We don't have equal rights. We do not have equal rights across the board. But I'm going to say to your co-host, right, you need to be fair and balanced. I listen to you guys every morning. I appreciate the topic. But you got to remember the PLP was formed on fried fish, tongue fritter, and bacon for $1. The same thing with the F&M. Most of the 99% of the churches in this country, okay?
And schools.
And so I'm saying to you this. When you made a statement that in short order they're going to be on the street begging for $1.
Yeah.
I think you should retract that because whoever wants to contribute will. Who doesn't provide straight path. We are in a mature society now that I think should be mature. And we should know when we make statements that are going to harm a group of people, we don't want it to happen to the PLP, the acronym, the DNA. We shouldn't want it to happen to a lot of people who are trying.
Okay.
Now, I agree that they're trying in the wrong way, and 99% of what they're pushing and how they're pushing it is very, very dangerous.
All right, call
But you cannot be dangerous too with the statements you're making, and be humble with it, because there's no way to justify it by jumping on and saying that they are wrong for begging for $1. And that's how you came across.
Okay.
When all of the parties did it, and when churches right now are trying to form on government land, and now having fish fry and conch fritter and dollar days and everything.
Right.
Wrong is wrong.
So,
You don't accept that.
Carla, 1 second. I think that you may have misunderstood. Me saying that they're going to be tomorrow on the streets begging for $1 had nothing to do with the fact. I don't have an issue with people on the side of the road asking for money. All right?
Okay.
My issue was, I was saying that right after Dwight was like, he read the statement where they're like, this person is known to police, this person has threatened to kill Haitians, this person is shooting off a gun. And I'm like, and come tomorrow, they're going to be asking you to give $1 to support his cause. That was my statement. All right. At least that was what I was trying to infer.
Okay.
I don't have an issue with people asking for sponsorship. You still see me on the side of the road asking for sponsorship. Like,
allow me to make one more statement. I agree with you now. Fair enough, and I apologize for taking it the other way.
No problem.
But watch this. How many of our politicians right now inside the House of Assembly, in years gone by, couldn't travel to the United States for being watched? Okay? For being watched. Okay? And so when we look at persons with guns and this and that, if there was a problem, this PLP government should have locked them up. They should have and do what they have to do, and they can't come down after the fact because there's a public outcry and try to fix things. They are too reactionary. Okay, they don't take things in hand when they should, because guess what? They are spineless. They don't know how to run the country, and the country is being run down in the ground. We are not having equal rights across the board. Okay, I have no problem with the margin rate bill, but guess what? Give me, as a man, the right to have the same rights that a woman has in my own country.
Right. Now, you did take part in the referendum, right?
Of course, I took part in the referendum.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And it's very sad that more men like him, we didn't hear enough from them during that time, so people can understand how much it was important.
Because people wanted to talk about how it's secretly to let all the gay people take over.
All right, so people who tuned in late are jumping to very bizarre conclusions that I see messages about we're trying to tie cancer to illegal immigration. That's not what happened. We were talking about cancer earlier.
You might as well at this point. You might as well.
We were talking about cancer earlier, and nobody was responding to the fact that...
And so we pulled out the old razzle-dazzle.
No, well, I said, well, fine.
Patients,
the next topic
gays,
was this.
And women.
And then immediately the phone lines are completely lit up, and all the text line is about to explode because
with
we're
death
talking about
threats to
Haitians.
Stephen, by the way.
And nobody has issued a death threat to you. Please stop.
probably
But
can't read it
the point was that there is a
right.
preventable cancer. There's a vaccine to stop people from getting cervical cancer. We have, according to this report, some of the highest incidence of this in the world, and there's a preventable a vaccine to prevent it. And yet, here we are. And very few messages. A few people have come in now about it, but nobody wanted to talk about it. But as soon as we switched to illegal immigration, everything's out of control. That's the point. We weren't trying to tie it together. So, yeah.
I mean, if they want to know the truth, because of the BRCA gene that is prevalent inside Bahamian genetics, it would actually help if we had some new blood inside the system to save the Bahamian
people. Already on edge now.
Oh no!
Listen, it's Friday. Please just chill out a little bit. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Caller, good morning. Are you there? No, let's take the other one there. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, Dwight, how you doing? See Alan Johnson with you, Stephen.
Hi.
Dwight, you made a statement, and I keep wondering if the Bahamas is just plain stupid, stuck on stupid, or just plain deliberately ignorant. The gentleman about his citizenship for his children. At the time, I was single. The woman was single. We had a child. I go to get a passport. They says if I'm applying, the child is not eligible for passport. But if the woman apply, the child will be eligible for passport because the woman is Bahamian. I happen to be Bahamian too. And so the problem is this, Dwight. You talk about this referendum, and we keep referring to this referendum. There is nothing in the Constitution that prevents any government in the last 49, almost 50 years, from passing a law to allow Bahamian men to pass on their citizenship to children at birth. There's nothing in the Constitution that prevents this government or any previous government from passing a law to allow women to pass on their citizenship to their children at birth. And so this whole concept of needing a referendum is a lie. Misinformation, because what you have is we had KCs and former QCs, whatever else, who's run this country, been involved with this, and they should know this. Just show us in the Constitution. Don't tell me it ain't there. Show me in the Constitution something that prevents you from passing this into law. Nothing in our Constitution prevents correcting the defect in citizenship for men and women in and outside of the Bahamas as of today, unless we're referring to another Constitution.
Yeah, see, Alan, so remember now the government says they're going to do this as soon as they hear from the Privy Council on the matter before them.
Just
but
the
issue that
hold on a second.
Mm-hmm.
All the Privy Council could do is affirm what they put in law. Because even if the Privy Council says it is not to be interpreted as that, nothing in the Constitution prevents them from putting it in law.
But you know what the issue is, that when the government changes in 5 years, they could go back.
Fortitude and a very audacity to do what is right.
Mm-hmm. But as you know, there is a great possibility, seeing how we love to go back and reverse legislation, that somebody could come back in there and change things.
You use that excuse, then we should be paranoid, because 80% of the laws in the Bahamas is not in the Constitution enshrined. Mm-hmm. So this whole concept of going back and forth, because the people will then decide to vet their people better, being concerned about taking something back. That is the lame excuse. Because if that's the case, just put every law in the Bahamas in the Constitution, and every time we even want to make a law for the Tourism Development Corporation, let's have a referendum. That's garbage, right? Okay. That's not how it's run. There's certain rights that's protected and whatever else.
I hear you.
Okay?
All right. Thank you very much. Although they act like it's sent directly from God, the Constitution. I mean, what's the deal? Can't we do something? Can we fix some things if the things aren't working? No, but that's fine. I hear you. We can take one more call. And then we get some messages and we have to take a break. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hi, good morning.
Hi.
Morning.
Dwight, I know that some people may have incorrectly made an assumption about the connection between immigration and cancer, but I do want to make that connection, a scientifically based connection between what's happening with our immigration issues and potentially our rates of cancer in the Bahamas.
All right, so you're gonna say your name, right, Doc? Say your name so people know. You want to say your name so people know where this is coming from? Yeah.
Dr. Marcus Cooper.
Yeah.
And my specialty is gastroenterology, but I do a lot of research in population health. And the immigration issue has the impact, or can have an impact, on the national health of the country. In Haiti, hepatitis B, which could be considered to be a sexually transmitted infection, is endemic. And when I say endemic, that means that it's estimated that approximately 2% or more of the population of Haiti is infected with hepatitis B. Last time I checked the population of hepatitis B, the population of Haiti was approximately 11 million. So you're talking probably about 220,000 people in that country that are infected with hepatitis B. Hepatitis B is an asymptomatic infection. You don't know that you have it. Many, many times there are no symptoms, and the only way that we pick it up is when somebody does a blood test and it shows that their liver function tests are a little bit elevated, which means they're having an infection in the liver. And what we're seeing in the Bahamas is an increase in the rates of hepatitis B. We're seeing it when we look at our records for blood donations, which is one of the only ways that we do detect that people have it. They go to donate blood for one of their relatives and they're hepatitis B positive. We see it in our pregnant women that are coming in to have children, testing positive for hepatitis B. And this infection can be passed on to their children, who then will not know that they have it. Fortunately, because we do screen them, the kids get treated at birth to prevent them from going on to develop a chronic hepatitis B infection. Hepatitis B can cause cirrhosis of the liver in the same way that somebody who drinks alcohol every day gets cirrhosis. Hepatitis B can cause cirrhosis, and it can cause liver cancer. The other reason that immigration can be tied to the cancer rates in the Bahamas is through something called H. pylori. H. pylori, or Helicobacter pylori is the scientific name, is a bacteria that gets into the stomach that can cause stomach cancer. And this is something else that we're seeing an increase of stomach cancer in Bahamians where our rates were previously very low. Helicobacter pylori is transmitted through contaminated water. And with our immigration issues, we're seeing the proliferation of shanty towns. Many of these shanty towns don't have proper sanitation. They don't have proper running water. And so this Helicobacter pylori gets into the water table, and it gets into the well water where many of Bahamians get their water supply. And so we're seeing astronomical rates of Helicobacter pylori infection in Bahamians, unsuspecting, coming in with symptoms of gas and bloating, the typical things that Bahamians complain about, and then we test them and they're H. pylori positive. And we do know that H. pylori, in addition to causing things like ulcers, can cause stomach cancer. So, despite you sort of making a joke about the connection between immigration and cancer, there's a definite one, a definite proven one that hopefully we will get control of so that we don't see a soaring of rates of stomach cancer and liver cancer in the Bahamas in Bahamians who are being inadvertently affected.
So, I mean, on the second one, Doc, I mean, I hear what you're saying, and yes, contaminated water is the main way the persons get H. pylori, but to say that it is directly correlated to shanty towns is kind of misleading, because as a person I'm saying,
however,
one second, let me finish my sentence. We didn't interrupt you for like 4 or 5 minutes. All right? I had H. pylori, all right?
What?
Exactly. I had ulcers, all right? I live nowhere near a shanty town, right? But well water can be contaminated just because it's too close to somebody else's sewer system, because it rained and their sewer system over-flooded, right? There are other ways for a person to get it. So, I mean, to draw that immediate conclusion saying this is scientific proof, I mean, it is a possibility, it's a theory, but I don't know if you could say I can draw a straight line to that. So I don't know if that's necessarily true. And the same thing with the hepatitis. It's like, yeah, but Bahamians have sclerosis of the liver from drinking 7 beers a day. So I don't know if we can necessarily draw these straight lines that you're saying.
I don't know if in medicine you can draw that straight line with any illness. There is always confounding variables, meaning that you can't say that lung cancer is only caused by smoking. We know that people get lung cancer who've never smoked in their life or been exposed to secondhand smoke on a regular basis. I'm not saying that stomach cancer or liver cancer are only caused by H. pylori or hepatitis B, respectively. I'm saying that these vectors can increase the rates of, and have been shown to increase the rates of stomach cancer and liver cancer. So at this point in time, no, I can't say that there's a direct line, but I can say, and this is what usually happens, that we react as opposed to being proactive because we know that the risk is there. It's a risk factor. And when we counsel people about their health, we counsel them about risk factors. And these are risk factors, and you can prove that these are some of the ways that people can get these risk factors and not even know.
Okay. Wow. Dr. Marcus Cooper, thank you. A lot to think about there. Thank you very much for adding that. We appreciate it. All right. Well, let's take a break. We'll be back. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
Wake up, it's a new day.
Ready to save? You can put $100 into the CFAL Savings Express Plan and make sure your money keeps growing. Earn interest on your savings while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
Nassau! Join Rise Bahamas online for Imagine Local Government Day, Saturday, March 25th at 11 a.m. Hosted by Naughty with music by DJ Bravo. Play our trivia for a chance to win $500 every hour until 2 p.m. Our speaker is Pat Ramming with appearances by Ed Fields, Valentino Scrooge Brown, and yours truly, Tanil Tada Burrows. Inbox Rise Bahamas on Facebook or email risebahamas@gmail.com to register.
We are called for local government.
Technology serves to make our lives better, so why not your business too? At Custom Computers, we've been maintaining our knowledge and relationships with top tech companies since 1987 and carry only the most trusted brands like Apple, Microsoft, HP, and more. No company has helped more businesses build reliable IT systems than Custom Computers. You name it, we've done it. Call 396-1101 to talk to any of our business experts. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
Is your 2023 goal to move into your own home? Well, future homeowner, enjoy another payday. Build or buy a home with financing from CIBC First Caribbean, and you'll receive cash back every month for 1 year. A home is one of your greatest investments, so secure one soon. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/homeowners payday for more info. Offer valid from January 9 through to March 31, 2023. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us 422-4796 on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC. 422-4796. And now at 8:22, time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Bahamas First. Here's what's happening. We've got high pressure that continues to be the main weather feature across the country, but beachgoers should exercise caution due to the risk of rip currents along north and east coast beaches. For all areas today, we're looking for mostly sunny and warm conditions with a slight chance of an isolated passing shower, becoming fair and warm tonight in the northwest Bahamas. Variably cloudy and a bit breezy with a few isolated showers in the central and southeastern islands. For boaters, small craft should exercise caution due to swells. Temperatures today getting up to around 82 Fahrenheit, 28 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 66 Fahrenheit, 19 Celsius. In your extended outlook, high pressure will continue to be the main weather feature across the country, generating stable and warm conditions for the weekend. Sea swells are also expected to begin to subside. So for tomorrow, Saturday, mostly sunny and warm with a chance of a few isolated showers, becoming fair and warm at night with a chance of isolated showers. Breezy in the southeast Bahamas. Sunday, mostly sunny and warm with a chance of isolated showers, becoming fair and warm at night. Isolated showers possible in the southeast Bahamas along with breezy conditions. That's your morning blend weather check, brought to you by Bahamas First. Visit firstonlineinsurance.com and select a Bahamas First agent to purchase, pay, or renew your car or home insurance 100% online. Or just stop by any Bahamas First agent. Bahamas First, celebrating 40 years, is the first Bahamian general insurance company. What's first for you comes first for us. And day 23, time for another check of your traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC. Discover mortgage ideas shaped around you. In your real-time traffic this morning, got a number of hot spots to tell you about. Independence Drive, heavy traffic both directions, but especially westbound this morning toward the roundabout with Blue Hill Road. Blue Hill Road is busy for you, especially near Carmichael, and north of Soldier Road on the way to that roundabout with Independence Drive. Further up along Blue Hill, heavy traffic as you approach Cordo Avenue, and even beyond that point to Wolf Road. Over on Milo Butler Highway, heavy traffic from Fire Trail straight up to the Tonic Williams-Darling Highway roundabout. And then further up at the Six-Legged roundabout as well, multiple directions there, northbound, eastbound on JFK, and southbound on New Providence Highway. Gladstone Road, seeing some congestion about midway between Fire Trail and John F. Kennedy Drive in the northbound lanes. And Carmichael westbound to Coral Harbor Road looking busy for you this morning. Elsewhere, we've got Cowpen Road, a number of spots there. Cowpen near Faith Avenue and Cowpen on the way to Blue Hill Road. That's all eastbound traffic. And further east along Zion Boulevard to the intersection with Bamboo Boulevard at East Street. Soldier Road looking congested near Windsor Place. And then Prince Charles Drive, a long line of traffic just east of Beatrice Avenue, heading toward that intersection. And again, through the intersection with Soldier Road as Prince Charles becomes Robinson Road to Old Trail, heavy traffic there. Eastern Road also busy for you, just east of Foxhill to about Johnson Road. Those are your hot spots this morning. That's your real-time traffic and your morning blend traffic alert brought to you by RBC. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/home story to start your mortgage story today. Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan, along with Stephen Hanna. It is World Tuberculosis Day, World TB Day. And we're going to be talking about TB, especially here in the Bahamas today. We're very pleased to have with us from the TB Surveillance Unit with the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Nurse Naomi Sands. Nurse Sands, good morning. Get close to that mic there. Good morning. Great to have you with us.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
I don't know if you say Happy World TB Day. Is that what you do?
Yes, definitely. Okay. And to everyone listening, Happy World TB Day to you.
Okay. Now, we don't usually associate happiness with TB, though, but, right?
Yes. Well, have a happy day, regardless of what's happening. You want to have a happy day.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about TB, tuberculosis. This has been around for a long time. What is it exactly?
Well, World TB Day is the day when we actually observe a scientist by the name of Robert Knox, who discovered the microbacterium tuberculosis in 1882. That's the bacteria that actually caused tuberculosis. Mm-hmm. And so we commemorate that day This World TB Day is celebrated every year on this day, which is the 24th of March, all around the world, every year. At this time, we take the opportunity to mobilize public support, intensify efforts related to TB control, and also at this time, healthcare professionals all around the world are able to sensitize the public so that they can stop the stigma that's associated with tuberculosis.
All right, let's talk some more about that. What is that stigma and what forms does that take?
Well, persons, just to hear the name tuberculosis, they can become afraid, okay? And so what they would do is they would probably discriminate and not want to associate with persons who have tuberculosis. But I'm glad that we took time out today to talk about tuberculosis, because you're going to find that when you listen on today, that you don't have to be afraid, you don't have to discriminate against persons who have tuberculosis.
Yeah. I remember years ago, before the pandemic, if you heard somebody coughing, often, sadly, people would joke, "Oh, you got TB" or something like that. And what are some of the symptoms? What are some of the things?
Well, some of the symptoms of tuberculosis, you have to cough. Of course, the cough is 3 weeks or more. You would have, and some persons cough up blood. Also, decrease in appetite. So if you have a decrease in appetite, we can expect also that you would lose weight. Also, fatigue, you're tired. Yeah.
So how do you get this bacteria that you're talking about?
Well, tuberculosis is a respiratory condition. And what that means is it's in the air. And so we're breathing in and out. And so if you're breathing in and out, it's easy to breathe in the bacteria and be infected with it.
Yeah.
So, right. So, but to take it back, there's like half a step. So, like, is the only way to get tuberculosis from person to person, or are there other ways that a person may contract tuberculosis before we get to like person to person? Like, is there any like high risk activities that may make somebody susceptible to developing tuberculosis?
Well, like I said, you can breathe in and out the bacteria. So if you're in a group of you're with a group of persons, you're talking, you're breathing in and out. If you're singing in a choir, you're breathing in and out. If you have the disease, you can spread it through coughing, singing, breathing in and out, sneezing. Now, also, it's not an easy catch, okay? So persons, it takes a while to catch it, all right?
Really?
So,
because people really make it seem like it's very contagious.
No, it's not. But of course, you can do certain measures to prevent it, okay? And also, it's not an easy catch. That's why when we do the contact investigations, we deal with persons who are closest to you. And of course, your closest persons would be those who you are around for most of the time, like your family. And your family could be anyone you're living with. And when I say living with, anyone who is occupying your room space, who's sharing the bathroom, kitchen, living room with you, your bedroom with you. So if you're off to college and you're with a roommate who has tuberculosis, that's your family. So you can catch it like that because you're in constant contact with them, talking with them for a while. You're maybe singing a song for them once in a while, laughing with them. Maybe if they sneeze and the bacteria is exiting their body, then of course you breathe it in. Then you can catch tuberculosis.
What about a workplace setting or in a classroom where you might be across the room from the person? Is that?
Yeah, like I said, it's not an easy catch. So in one day, it's unlikely. Okay, but if now your immune system is weak, like the case with children, children, their body aren't developed as yet. And so it's easy for them to catch diseases. Also, persons with HIV and AIDS, they have a weakened immune system. Also, persons with diabetes, they have a weakened immune system as well. And then also persons, if you have a flu and your immune system is weak, then it's an easy catch for you in those instances.
Yeah. You mentioned the flu. We know there's a flu season. Is there a season for TB as well, or can you get this year round?
You can catch tuberculosis year-round. Okay. The thing is, though, I'm glad you're mentioning that because we're in the Bahamas, and so we don't have that many cases of tuberculosis here, which is good. And so we work really hard in the tuberculosis surveillance unit. And of course, shouts out to our nurse in charge, nursing officer, Patrice Hannah. She's doing a remarkable job. You keep that up, Sister Hannah. And also the doctors, we have Dr. Nikia Forbes, Barnaby, Dr. Barnaby, and some other doctors like Dr. LaRoda. We have Dr. Pratt who helps. We have Dr. Wallace. I mean, they just help us to in the fight. And then, of course, the team. I have to give a shout out to the mobile team. We have Nurse Brennan. We have Miss Sherman. We have Nurse McIntosh. They are working tirelessly. We have the chest clinic team. Myself, along with Nurse Skeets and Mr. Humes, and of course, we can't forget our driver, Mr. Gordon Scott. He's driving us around to make sure that we are able to provide treatment.
Yeah. So you said the numbers are low. Like, what types of numbers are we talking about? And how does that compare to other parts of the world?
Okay, so let me just tell you that according to the World Health Organization, that there in 2021, there was an incidence of just 12 cases per 100,000 population. That's low, okay? And so, the Bahamas, we don't have that.
That's for the world.
That's a world, And if you check the website right now as we speak, you can see all the statistics. But for the past 5 years, the Bahamas has recorded a few cases of TB that is relatively low in number. So it's really low.
So what's accounting for that? I mean, again, it's low globally, but even lower here.
I'm not going to put a number to it because you mean for which year?
Yeah, I mean, just generally, why are we so low? What are we doing? Is it surveillance?
Well,
is it healthy practices? What are we?
Well, like I said earlier, we're low because of the efforts that the Bahamas government is doing, and they has actually given the responsibility to the unit. And like I said, I mentioned Sister Hannah, she's in charge of it. And what we're actually doing is we're educating the public. We are training persons. We are also educating, training persons. We are out there directly observing clients take their treatment daily, 7 days a week, even holidays, to ensure that they comply with their treatment. Because, see, tuberculosis is a disease, but it's a disease that has cure to it. That's why when I said happy Tuberculosis World Day, I said that too because I know that if you have tuberculosis disease, you can actually be cured. And that's a happy story. Yeah. It's not a bad ending.
Yeah. Not a death sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So many questions. So we've mentioned the flu and we kind of talked about COVID, but the symptoms are similar and there's a cough in all of these. Can you just tell by the type of cough what you have?
Well, you can. Okay, healthcare providers, we suggest that if you're coughing, you can have a respiratory condition. And the respiratory condition can be COVID, it can be a flu, it can be tuberculosis. Now, suggesting alone is not sufficient. So what we as healthcare providers, because we are also scientists, our knowledge is science-based. So what we do is we have certain tests that can actually differentiate, per se, exactly what the condition or the disease is. Now, in the case with tuberculosis, we have a popular test, which is the Mantoux test, that is done, and it detects whether or not there is the bacteria inside of your body. Okay? And then I don't want to mention the other diseases today because we're all about TB.
Right.
Okay? So yes, that's a test. Also, we there's a chest X-ray that can actually determine if your lung is being injured or damaged. And definitely to differentiate the organism, we allow clients to bring up mucus from their lung and we send it to the lab. In the lab, the laboratorist, he or she is able to differentiate this organism and name it. Once they name it as tuberculosis, it's not all bad news. And like was said, it's not a death sentence.
Yeah.
There's cure.
Let's talk about that, the treatment and how that works. If you are discovered to have TB, what are the next steps?
Well, if you're discovered to have the TB disease, because it's a public health threat and it is contagious, we need to isolate you for a while and provide treatment to you to start quickly on treating you for this disease so that you can be cured. Okay? And in the meantime, while you're getting treated and isolated, the doctor would order some tests. Like I mentioned, the mantle skin test. We would have the chest x-ray and also the culture test. And those tests will be as baseline data so that now once you're discharged and you are having follow-up appointments at the clinic, the doctor is able to compare the start examinations with the continued ones to see if the bacteria in you is being resolved. Okay, so once we repeat the x-ray, we're able to see that, hey, there is improvement to this client's lung. So we know then that the client is being cured from the disease. Okay, and then of course, if we notice that there isn't any improvement, of course, the doctor will further examine you and determine what it is or what other TB medications that we need to provide for you. Because there are a lot of TB medication, rifampicin, isoniazid, all kinds that are very potent and they can vigorously fight the bacteria in you and bring it down. Wow. Okay? Now, the only thing I want to mention is, if you have tuberculosis, it's very crucial that you continue your treatment regimen as the doctor orders. Because what has happened is once you take those medications, you're going to beat the bacteria down. And now I said bacteria because, bacteria can be cured. They can be treated and cured. So once you continue to take your treatment and you beat it down to the ground, then you will kill the bacteria. But now, listen, if you stop taking the treatment as doctor order, what you will then do is cause the bacteria to start to grow. Yeah. And it may take over to a point whereby we cannot handle it. And that's what you call the resistant TB. It's not resisting the bacteria, the medication because it's taking over your body. We don't want that. So, hey, if I were you and you have the disease, I would listen to the nurses.
Wow. All right. So isolation, how long do you need to be isolated generally?
Well, isolation is for 2 weeks. Okay, isolation with treatment. We started treatment, isolation for 2 weeks. At that point in time, we're able to bring down the bacteria that's in your body to a non-contagious level. So after 2 weeks, scientists have proven that even though the tuberculosis bacteria is in your body, right, it cannot be spread. So then we release you from the hospital or from your isolation room or wherever, and you're able to continue into your normal daily activities of living without being able to spread the disease. But at the same time, let me mention that you must continue treatment, and we ensure that.
Yeah. So can you, this is not something you can do at home, isolate at home?
Well.
Yeah, or can you, if you live with people, do you recommend that?
Well, the isolation order is all up to the physician, but in the past, during we have had persons who were able to isolate at home because here it is. If you're living by yourself and you hardly go out and you're able to stay in your confined environment, then why not? And two, what we can do is have the nurses, because of course I said 24/7, not 24/7, but 7 days a week, we go to these clients' home. So we're checking on them. We're ensuring that whatever the doctor orders, it's being carried through. So you can, okay?
Yeah. So with the low incidence here, how are people who do have TB generally getting it? Is it through travel or what are you seeing normally?
Okay, so the catch is you cannot really tell exactly how or when. I mean, you can tell how, but you can't tell when they got it. Because you can try to trace it down and you can try to, think about how they would have gotten because of the questions you asked them, like, where were you? Did you travel here or there? But the thing, because tuberculosis is airborne and a lot of people travel or whatever, it's a great possibility to get it like that. But we cannot just pinpoint, you maybe get it from her or there. Yeah. We can have an eye, we can draw conclusions that maybe when you traveled here, you probably picked it up. Yeah. Because it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
And possibly the number of tourists we have coming here. So somebody,
correct. And travel does increases the risk of.
Yeah. All right. Let's take this call really quickly. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Mr. Dwight Strachan. How you doing?
Doing well.
Sorry to interrupt your conversation, but why it's on my mind. I just wanted to.
You are talking about TB, right?
Yeah, I wanted to get to that. But first, before I said that, I want to say a shout out to two icons around here birthday today: Willa Francis and Leslie Miller.
Okay, all right. Happy birthday
75 years old today. The Diamond Jubilee of our two icons.
Both of them. Okay, wonderful. All right.
Yeah, that's all I really wanted to say. I hope you do well with your show.
Okay, thanks a lot. So no TB. All right. Well, that's and one more. Hopefully, this is about TB. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hello. Good morning, Dwight. How you doing?
Doing well.
Great. And my son, controversially, but I don't know if you ever heard or your host ever heard about something called colloidal silver.
You mean to the nurse?
Hello?
As a treatment for tuberculosis?
Yeah, go on. What about it?
Yeah, colloidal silver. Pull it up. That's one of the best things. E. coli, tuberculosis. Like you said, it is airbound, and it's very good. And then the moringa leaves. That helps fight infection also. But, some medical doctors ain't going to tell you that. But moringa, my son used to have asthma, and when he was growing up, and he was going in the hospital maybe sometime twice a month. But when I found out about colloidal silver now, that being over 30, 40-something years, and never had another bout with it. And I still can take it on a daily basis because of this virus that's going around, because it strengthens the immune system. But on your spare time, Dwight, pull it up.
Okay.
The benefit of moringa leaves and colloidal silver.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, so you mentioned it. We have very few cases each year, and globally, not many anymore. And I noticed the shirt that you're wearing, which is the theme of this year's World TB Day. Yes, we can end TB. Is this a reality? Can we really do this? It sounds like we're close.
Yes, I believe we can. The mere fact that there is treatment and there is cure means that you can end it. So once persons who get the disease adhere to their treatment regimen, then of course we can end this.
And we're getting closer to eradicating this entirely.
Yes, I believe.
Yeah. We've come a long way, right? From all the people who died from consumption just over 100 or so years ago. But we read, Stephen, and we know how it goes. And there's been lots and lots of people have died, and it's unbelievable that we are here now. And this is not something to be afraid of.
No.
This used to have people running out of a room, apparently. If they heard,
understandably.
if you heard someone cough, that was a death sentence back then, but not anymore. So what's being done here to commemorate World TB Day?
Well, we have started focusing on TB the more because of, like I said, of course, we in the unit every day we focus on TB. We educate persons and train them. But for the month of March, we have encouraged other persons in different areas to have bulletin boards that talk to the disease of TB. And we have encouraged our healthcare professionals to have health talks, and like I'm doing now.
Right.
What we also did, which was really good, was we visited the Bahamas Harvest Church, the West Campus, on Sunday, the 19th of March, 2023, to actually start scheduling events that lead to World TB Day. Yes, like I'm doing, we have the live radio talk shows that were held and being held right now. And we have our T-shirts. I am wearing my black one today. I have all the colors. And yes, we can end TB. That's what it says. That's the theme for this year. And listen, everyone, if you didn't hear anything I said today, listen up. On Saturday, which is tomorrow, the 25th of March, 2023, we're going to have our TB expedition. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be in the Mall of Marathon, starting at 10 a.m. through 10 p.m. Don't miss it, please, because there will be prizes and surprises. Of course, we will have health screening tests done, like the blood pressure and also blood glucose. And of course, for more information, on the events, you can call us at 502-4803 or 502-4728 or also at 827-3005.
Okay, wonderful stuff. Nurse Naomi Sands, thank you so much for being here this morning, giving us some great information. And again, happy World TB Day to you.
Thank you, and great to have me here.
All right. We're going to take a break and be back with a lot more Morning Blends on this Friday morning in just a bit. Stay with us.
Carifta is almost here, and the Live has partnered with TCL for you to capture gold at the 2023 Carifta Games. Switch to Alive and get a free TCL 30 Plus or TCL 30 SE on select Alive postpaid plans to share pictures and videos of our Bahamian athletes as they hit the tracks to win gold. Visit your nearest Alive store or mobile van location and come gold with us at the 2023 Carifta Games.
Florida Auto Parts can deliver all the auto parts your car will ever need, direct from the USA and from around the world. Florida Auto Parts provides fast delivery on auto parts, and we ship throughout the Bahamas, genuine or aftermarket, new or used, and all for the best price. Call Florida Auto Parts Trusted Parts Rep on WhatsApp at 1-786-772-8777 to save auto parts purchase. Florida Auto Parts, the right parts at the right price.
When faced with an illness like cancer, we band together, and we at Cleveland Clinic in Florida have your back. From advanced cancer treatments to extra safety measures at all of our locations, we're with you on this journey for every infusion and follow-up, for every step of the way, for every care in the world. Cleveland Clinic in Florida. Get the care you need when and where you need it. To learn more or connect with a local representative, visit clevelandclinic.org/Caribbean.
Take some advice from your Aunt Angie. If you want to go scuba diving on your vacation, don't bedazzle your wetsuit. And you think you look great, but what you don't realize is that you look like a shiny, scaly fish. And it won't take long for a shark to notice you. Next thing you know, you're busting out every karate move you got. But if you're smart, you'll have CG medical insurance and get airlifted out to the closest hospital.
Get coverage for emergency evacuations. CG Atlantic Medical and Life Insurance. Good like that. All benefits are subject to policy provisions, including eligibility at the time of service.
People, what you thinking? We want something different. People, what you wanting? A local government. I can tell them no more slunking. We want to see it function. I can tell them no more joke. I forgot. Going down Blue Hill Road, going down Village Road, going down Nassau Road. We want local government. We want local government. It's the road. We want local government. Shed a load. We want local government. We got call for local government. Sign the petition and find out more information at risebahamas.net.
Tired of paying too many bills and loan payments each month?
Shrink your monthly debt payments down to one easy payment with our debt consolidation loan.
It also has a built-in savings that pays you 5% interest.
Inquire about our debt consolidation loans today.
Call 356-7764.
At Wendy's, we are different. We don't just use beef. It's fresh, never frozen. Our burgers are square because we never cut corned. Hot off the grill with fresh lettuce, tomatoes, onions, and American cheese. We believe in fast food done right. Always serving fresh, never frozen beef. Order a hot, juicy Dave single, double, or triple. Made with fresh, never frozen beef. Now only at Wendy's. Different inside and out.
Technology serves to make our lives better, so why not your business too? At Custom Computers, we've been maintaining our knowledge and relationships with top tech companies since 1987 and carry only the most trusted brands like Apple, Microsoft, HP, and more. No company has helped more businesses build reliable IT systems than Custom Computers. You name it, we've done it. Call 396-1101 to talk to any of our business experts. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
Florida Auto Parts can deliver all the auto parts your car will ever need, direct from the USA and from around the world. Florida Auto Parts provides fast delivery on auto parts, and we ship throughout the Bahamas, genuine or aftermarket, new or used, and all for the best price. Call Florida Auto Parts Trusted Parts Rep on what? 1-786-772-8777 to save on your next auto parts purchase. Florida Auto Parts, the right parts at the right price.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Well, it's not the hour. Besides, it's in the place that we come in with power. All hands in the air.
Wrap this up. Ain't no more working today. Close up shop. Everything else got away.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Stephen Hanna. And you know him from Guardian Radio and many other things. Quincy Parker, a good friend of ours, is joining us now to talk about demystifying public speaking.
How to talk.
And his company. Is this your company, Quincy Parker? Good morning. Eloquence?
Good morning, Dwight Strachan. And yes, Eloquence Strategic Communications is the name of my little consultancy. And I'm excited to be here. Thank you very much for having me in this very different dispensation.
Very fancy. Eloquence. Okay, very nice. So, the secret sauce, public speaking demystified. Before we get into all the details about it, what do you think? Are we not doing collectively a good job about public speaking? Or are certain people having issues? What do you make of it? What's your assessment?
Well, the short version is that there are really only a few reasons that people are not engaged in public speaking. And the most important one is people are afraid. They're afraid of looking silly. They're afraid of getting it wrong. They're afraid of being laughed at. They're afraid of misinforming people. And so it isn't that we are not necessarily collectively doing a good job at it. It is that there are many among us who are afraid to do it. And those people are the ones that I think need the secret sauce more than anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
The secret sauce is also definitely going to help anybody who makes a living from talking. Those people will also benefit tremendously from the seminar, in my estimation.
Mm.
But ultimately, the answer to your question is that it's not about the number of people engaged in the process of public speaking. It's about helping people who do public speaking approach it with more confidence and more skill.
Okay, all right. So what do you make of people who are better at delivering a speech versus people who can speak off the cuff and can really just, talk and engage folks? Is it fine to be better at one than the other, or to be a good public speaker, you need to do all? You must do all.
You're sort of skirting around the edges of the secret sauce there. So the fact is, public speaking has a couple of real distinct purposes. It either helps to form connections, it either influences decisions, or it motivates change. And the first thing that you talk about, someone who's able to deliver a speech, that person has a skill set that is very important. To be able to convincingly deliver a speech is a skill that you can't sneeze at. That's a beautiful thing to be able to do. The other side of that question, someone who's just able to speak off the cuff, that individual has already grasped the secret sauce to an extent. There is a middle ground, but the two skills are not mutually exclusive. And I don't think that either one is to be preferred over the other. I think that personally, I am more inclined to identify with the second paradigm that you propose. But as I say, the ability to stand and deliver is incredibly important, especially if what you're trying to do is an informative speech and a persuasive speech.
Right. Because I do know quite a few people who are champions at off the cuff speaking, but can't do a speech, read a speech to save their lives. Because it's not in their bag. It's not a skill that they possess. Yeah.
But I want to be clear too that the public speaking is not necessarily just the idea of standing up in a room giving a speech to an audience. Public speaking is when you have a plan you have to present. Public speaking is if you have a team that you're leading and you have to present a new idea or you want to share your goals and your visions for the future of the team. Public speaking is preaching from the pulpit. Public speaking is talking at a town meeting where you're trying to convince an audience or a group of 3 people to think differently about something. So I want to encourage people to think more broadly of public speaking and not to get locked into the idea that it is just about giving a speech in a speech type environment.
Okay, so let's talk about what you're going to be offering, or what you and who you can help.
Yeah. So what I will be offering during the seminar, and I suppose I should say it is on April 1st. That's next Saturday at Crypto Isle, which is
former Luciano's.
Which is where Luciano's restaurant used to be. And the seminar is $150 to register. And you can register at cryptoisle.com, or you can get in touch with me and I'll give the details later. But since we're talking about it, I thought I should say that, and I'll say it again later. But the goal is to assist anyone who really speaks for a living or makes money from talking. People who have, especially people who are trying to pitch something, whether that is pitch an idea to a group of investors, whether that is to, as I had said earlier, pitch a new paradigm to a team that you, whether that's talking on behalf of an organization, whether that is speaking from the pulpit or in the youth group meetings, whether that is speaking from the political stage or any state. Those are the people. Even the teachers in an academic arena. That's a very important public speaking environment, and I think that I can help all of those people. Firstly, by dealing with or going through the mechanics of communication in the context of speaking, public speaking, and dealing with some techniques to address some of the shortcomings that afflict people who do in public speaking. And then, of course, there's the secret sauce, which is what you have to come and attend the seminar to get.
Okay, so if you are just really painfully shy, can you really be helped if you really are uncomfortable? Is there anything that you can do and anyone can do to help someone?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I really want people to focus on is the purpose of the quote unquote public speaking that you're doing, right? In most cases, I would venture to say 90% or more, you don't just stand up and start. Usually, anyone involved in a public speaking environment has been asked to speak. And the first thing that you should realize as the individual who's been asked to speak is that the people who asked you to speak have already expressed their confidence in you to be able to share with them what it is that you know.
What if you're just in the position and they don't really, because you hold that position, they think that you should be able to?
In that instance, again, they have given you already a sign that they trust that you will be able to deliver. So it deals, accepting that and acknowledging that and thinking about that helps, or it should help in any event, to take away a lot of the anxiety around actually making the presentation. And then the other steps that we'll talk about in the seminar, but a bit here, is it's very difficult to feel confident if you are not prepared. And so preparation for a public speaking engagement is entirely indispensable. When we were talking earlier about speaking off the cuff, that is that's a skill set that we'll discuss. But the idea of conviction is really grounded in sense of, well, in context of the question that I'm answering, the shy person needs preparation.
Okay. All right. So I've got this question here, and I normally wouldn't ask this I wouldn't read this text to a guest because I think it's a little cheeky. But I know you, Quincy, I know you can handle it. You are a great speaker. So hey, you can brace yourself. All right. So, and I think I know the answer already because you keep talking about the secret sauce. But the texter's asking, so what's the difference between what you're offering and the millions of free videos I can get on YouTube?
Great question, and I appreciate it. The difference between the free millions, I agree, of free videos you can get on YouTube is, number one, that will be face to face, or if you are able to join us via Zoom, and that I will be able to answer your direct questions in the context of our community and audience. And that's something that the millions of videos that you can get on YouTube will not be able to do. Secondly, I will be speaking from my own personal experience, which is my unique set of experiences that are different and have shaped my ability to share my experiences and my knowledge differently than any of the millions of free videos that you can get on YouTube. And thirdly, the millions of free videos that you can get on YouTube are all more or less going to say the same thing, which is these are the tricks and the tools of the trade, and then they're going to leave you to make of those things what you will and what you can. And the whole point of the 2-hour seminar with me is the important part is the interaction. It's how do you make it personal to you specifically, as opposed to just having a information that you cram into yourself. It's almost like having a personal coach or a guide through any new environment, and that's what this seminar offers. That's what I'm offering, and for those people who are interested, I believe they'll get some really powerful stuff out of it.
Okay. All right. One more time, tell us the cost of the event.
Yes, it's $150 for the 2-hour seminar, and then we also have free a cocktail reception after. The first drink is on us at Crypto Isle.
Okay.
And it's 2:00 on April 1st. That's next Saturday. And you can register at cryptoisle.com. You can also register on my LinkedIn page. You can look for me at LinkedIn /K Quincy Parker. You can register my email address. That is kquincyparker@eloquencellc.com. That's KQUINCYPARKER at ELOQUINCELLC.com. You can hit me up on WhatsApp or LinkedIn, Twitter. I'm even on Instagram at what is it? My tag is eloquence_SC, and I can link you to the registration page. So there's
You're on everything. TikTok too?
I'm not. I mean, I am on TikTok, but my TikTok is not appropriate for this.
I bet. Okay. And TikTok. Yeah. Okay, Quincy. Looking forward to it. Next week, Saturday, April 1st, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. The Secret Sauce, Public Speaking Demystified at Crypto Isle. And thank you very much for sharing information about your new venture, Eloquence. Sounds very exciting. And I appreciate it. Have a great weekend.
Let me ask you a hard question.
Oh, no. Me?
You. Are you and Steven going to come?
I don't think I'm going to be on the island at the time.
Yeah, same thing.
Dwight thinks that he's good at talking, so he's trying to talk his way out of it.
No, I try to not talk as much as possible, but once I get off the air, that's it. But I know a lot of people are going to be interested. We'll post this on our pages as well, Quincy, and great stuff. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, brother. Y'all take care.
Okay. We're going to break for news and be back with Morning Blend Business, our morning brand series. When we get back, stay with us.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Friday, March 24th, 2023. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan, along with Stephen Hanna, and it is time for our monthly morning brand segment with Royanne Dean of Communications Design and Digital Solutions Agency Onward Advisors. Royanne, always a pleasure. Good to have you with us. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks.
All right, so we know it's March, that's Women's Month, and so this morning we are looking at that and the marketing of this country, the destination, everything we do in terms of a women's perspective and whether everything is in alignment and the implications of it not being. So if that is the case, we're going to talk about it this morning. So we know that we have some challenges, Royanne, when it comes to equity and equality, although many debate that, but we know the reality, especially when it comes to some laws and the Constitution. But let's talk about that and whether there is, for the folks on the outside looking in, who might question what we stand for and might be wondering if this is a place for them to be doing business with.
Sure. So, well, let me start from the outset with kind of putting the conversation into context. So, as you mentioned, this is the morning brand segment, and there is a branding component to this whole conversation. So I'm going to start with just a brand is basically a promise of what you can expect your service or your product or your experience to be like, right? And in, let's say, for example, in a corporate setting, branding is a holistic initiative. So there is the external brand, which is what we on the outside, what we see, what we hear, and how we experience that organization's product or service. And that can be a company, it could be a government entity, whatever, but it's what we see on the outside. And then there is the internal brand, which is how the people who are in that organization, how they think, like what's the culture, how they act, and that therefore helps to determine the type of service that they provide. So these things are very, very much connected. Now we think that through and say, okay, if we're going to think through like this external brand and internal brand, we can also apply that to countries, because each country, if it aspires to be a destination, has a destination brand, or let's just say it has a brand, right? So there's the external brand, which is and in our case, we're a tourist destination. We really heavily market sun, sand, and sea. We promote ourselves as a progressive destination in terms of what the country does related to the promotion of its financial services industry. We do a lot in foreign affairs. So our external brand, one could say, is that we are a progressive society, we're modern, et cetera. We're really pushing hard on the environment, on the digital side. So that is our external brand. The question that I want to put forward today for our discussion is related to the internal brand, and in particular in the context of March, which is Women's History Month. We celebrated International Women's Day on March 8th. And the push for this International Women's Day was accelerating equality and empowerment, right? So let's look at this in the context of this month, celebrating equality and empowerment. Yeah. This to get women to have a collective stance to advocate for gender equality and empowerment, right? But I want to bring two articles to your attention, which will frame up this conversation. The first is from comments from an economist, Marla Dukaran, who spoke at the RF Business Economic Outlook, the BEO conference. And what she said is that we need to empower women in work in the Bahamas, and they need to be a part of the solution. I mean, this is one phrase that I'm pulling from the from her comments, which was in the article. But what she's essentially saying is that we need to invest more in women. We need to invest more in families so that we can have we can diversify the economy and broaden entrepreneurism, and stop leaning so heavily on tourism. So there are some parts of this article, I think, that are more controversial than others, but the part that really stuck out to me for this conversation was her comment in that we need to support women in the workplace. We need to support women in work in the Bahamas. The second article that I want to bring to your attention is from the U.S. State Department, and that was a report on statelessness in the Bahamas that was recently released, I believe, last week. And the statelessness, I would say, problem, they attributed it to, in part, because of women's current rights under the Constitution, which is that unlike Bahamian men who have children with foreign women, if a woman is married to a foreign man, she has a child, even if she has it in the Bahamas, that child does not automatically become a Bahamian citizen.
Well, no. I mean, if the child's born in the Bahamas and they're married, yes. But,
is that right?
Yes, but if they're born abroad, no, they have to apply. But if they're married and born here, but if it's a Bahamian man and a foreign woman, even if the child is born here,
they still get automatic citizen, right? Citizenship.
Well, not the Bahamian man with the foreign woman who's not his wife, but but if that married women abroad, that's where the challenge is. Yes.
Right. Well, the long and the short is the rights are not equal.
Right.
So,
Absolutely.
So I want to put that into the context of, how do we think about our external brand? As I mentioned earlier, we're projecting a progressive and modern society with those two things that I mentioned just now, and women's rights, and the fact that an economist who's looking at it from an economic perspective is saying that we need to support women in work so that we can improve our economy. So that's what I'm putting forward today as the conversation.
Yeah. All right. So it's a very interesting concept. But do you think it really makes a difference to people? And it should. But do you think it really does?
To people externally or internally?
Externally. Because we do see people investing in countries where women have even fewer rights. What do you think? Who does it really, really, really bother?
Well, I don't know if bother is the right word, but let's just say that, in branding, you want to have an alignment between your internal brand and your external brand. So, for example, if we look at the fact that there are many companies and many institutional investors in, for example, in the U.S. that have a real focus on ESG, right? That's environmental, social, and governance priorities. So they look for companies that are investing in those priorities as well. So there is a drive to improve the equality and the empowerment of women and other demographics that are, perhaps disenfranchised in some way. But the idea is that we are maximizing what we're doing as a country by including women, giving them equal rights. So the question is, it may influence how people see us as a society. I can tell you that in the referendum that we had on gender equality, I realized that I live in a bubble, right? But I came to learn that we were one of 8 countries in the world that did not afford women those rights under the Constitution. One of 8. So how does that square? I think that's a good question from an internal perspective, especially for women. How does that square with what you think about the Bahamas and where you live and your, the society that you live in versus what is being projected? Is that progressive?
Yeah.
Is that modern?
Yeah. Let's talk about that. And I want to go back to that word bother. Or why don't you think more people, including women, are bothered by that? That is a disturbing figure there, and a stat there, right, amongst not wonderful company to be counted with, right? I think that's all about.
I wonder if people really think through what's being said and then what's actually being done, and whether they even think about what's being done is fair or right. Because if you have a company that is saying that, we or a country in this case, that we believe in treating people fairly and equally, but what's actually happening is not the case. I mean, how does that make you feel that you want to be proud to be where you're from, you want to be proud to represent the values that you believe are the right values, but they're not in alignment in some cases. So it is a matter of branding. It is a matter of like, how do you internalize what this external brand is? So, especially for women, and as we observe it during this month, because when it was International Women's Day, I mean, there was tons of stuff online from everywhere saying, women are the greatest and like girl bosses and like, woman power. But it's like, is that really what's happening on the ground?
Indeed. All right, let's get folks in on this conversation. What do you make of it?
I'm surprised that Stephen hasn't said anything yet.
Yes, Stephen, he's got some interesting looks on his face, but that's just how you look.
That's just how I look.
Okay, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us 422-4796. All right, so on this message here, and it's unfortunate, as you said, there's a lot of gender as well for men as well, and this is what everybody's talking about. It might not sound like that all the time, texter, but they're saying a Bahamian man doesn't have the right to his child either, to pass on his citizenship to his child either. This is what I'm editing. Ticks me off when people... when they don't include that part, fair conversation not being done for the single men as well. Yeah, indeed. But, what?
See, I have to grumble for that because it's like, I remember during the referendum having this conversation with somebody, and the person was like, they were one of those persons like, oh, this is all a ploy to get gay marriage in the Bahamas, right? But at the same time, there was also somebody
There was a lot of that. You had one conversation?
Right, one second. All right, but also there was somebody who were fighting for custody of their child.
Same person?
Mm-hmm, because the mother had custody. And it's like, and I was trying to explain to the person, hey, you know that if we fix this gender thing, the court wouldn't automatically assume that the mother is a better parent. Court wouldn't automatically lean to that. Like, you would have an argument, but right now you don't, because that's how gender is set up inside the law. We could fix this.
Mm-hmm.
No, so this is all about, and so it's like, I don't know, we could say education is a broad situation, but when I hear that I have to mumble when somebody calls to complain about that, because it's the same thing with when it's International Women's Day, where's the International Men's Day? It's November 9th or 8th, I don't know. Whole point is, it exists and nobody cares. The people come on this show every year to promote International Men's Day, and the men don't call in. The men don't go to any of the events. The men don't start any of the events themselves. But they complain every International Women's Day.
They call in.
And so it's like, when I hear people say, oh, it gets me mad because men don't have rights too. You're right. But you don't fight for your own rights. You only complain when other people ask for rights. So it's like, I want everybody to have rights. Why don't you get on board and let's fight for rights for everybody? Well, I ain't got nothing, so why they getting something? Don't do that. So that's what I'm mumbling about.
Yeah.
In response to the text. Because the text is like, that's not true. People from that was what, 5-10 years? I can't remember how
I'm
long.
just curious. Did they vote in the referendum?
Yes, of course they did.
Right? Did they vote?
Of course they voted against themselves.
They voted no?
Right? They voted.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
The referendum was specifically, if I recall, the wording was around women being able to pass on citizenship to their children, and then also around women who married men who were not Bahamian, and could they pass on? Yeah, could their husbands get citizenship
through marriage?
Right. So the issue was really around women having the ability to pass on citizenship, or to more easily get citizenship for their children and husbands.
Well, it's 4 questions. So the third one was about men being able to do that, single men as well. And then the fourth one
wasn't there one about gender?
The fourth one was was
No,
very
but
obscure.
it was. But the thing is, the point of that other one about gender was to correct these other things inside law, right? Because like right now, you can have laws that discriminate based on sex and gender, and it's fine. But this is going to say, hey, no, just your crackhead mother does not get rights over the child, over the father who has a job, or vice versa. I'm just saying, like the gender thing would have worked for all genders, not just for women.
Overall, if we're projecting, I mean, you know, I frame this conversation in the context of Women's Month, Women's History Month, because we're in Women's History Month. But the broader context is, you know, that it is exactly right. It's gender equality. So the big picture is, if we want to project that we are a modern society, we have, you know, values that align with, I'm generalizing, with a modern society, which means that you know, the ideal is equality, is equity, and openness, right? How should we think about that in terms of what our internal brand is, what we internalize as Bahamians, how we see ourselves, and then how we then in turn treat people, right? Because all of that means that it does trickle back out to the external brand. The way that we think about ourselves, that internal brand, the way that we think about other people who live and reside in this country, then affects, especially if you work in hospitality, how you treat other people. So, you know, these two things are aligned, and it's just interesting to think about how we see ourselves in terms of this internal brand versus how we see ourselves projected to the rest of the world.
Yeah. You mentioned something earlier. Caller, we'll get to you in a second. Just hold on. You mentioned something earlier about all the, you know, pomp and pageantry, basically, with with International Women's Day and everything we saw all over the place. It was quite something. It almost seems like a show. Stephen mentioned we are bombarded with angry male callers on International Women's Day, and people who will ask the question, but there ain't no International Men's Day, which we know is not true. When we've got a text here saying the same thing. I find it interesting when we talk about gender equality and discrimination against women, and the men get mad. But the point is, the last should be equal. What's the problem? So what do you make of that? I mean, how do I put this? Are we really serious when we say this, Royanne? I mean, is it just for show when we make a big production about International Women's Day, but we hear the truth when people are talking and calling in and saying what more y'all want, and so that is murky, making the brand murkier because, you know, I'm sure everybody internally and externally can see that, well, perhaps the Bahamas ain't quite serious about this.
Well, you know, your question, okay, here's the first answer is, the question of whether we're serious or not is really, I think there's two ways to look at it. The first thing is that if the government is saying, International Women's Day and we celebrate women and this, that, and this, right? How are we looking at what the policies are related to women in the Bahamas, right? Is there full equality under the Constitution? Are the rights of women to, and I'm thinking in particular about like domestic abuse, like how are we looking at policies that really impact women? How are we looking at, I think there was some research done a few years ago, but I don't know like current data on pay equality, you know, the ability for women to rise to the top of their organizations, the number of women that are on boards, you know, how do we think about girls being educated in STEM for, to help to develop the economy 30 years from now? Like that will give girls and women an equal chance and help them to succeed. That's on one side. But on the other side, I mean, there's a huge cultural component that weighs into this. So the are we serious part from the cultural component, I mean, I don't have a good answer for that because some of those beliefs that women are not equal, or like all people are not equal, even if we take the lens away from women for a minute and we just speak about gender equality in general, this is probably, I would venture to say, not what we really believe, right? Based on the results from the referendum, and then based on what you said, like there's always callers calling and saying, well, what more rights y'all want? We may not really believe that from a cultural perspective, but the policies that are drafted and implemented should reflect that in a society that is projecting itself as being a modern society with contemporary values.
Okay, we've got a lot of calls. Let's see what these folks are saying. Good morning, call. You're on Morning Blend Business, our morning brand segment.
Hey, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning to you guys. I'm listening to you guys talking, and I'm also wondering about the persons who voted no on the referendum, because I'm one of those. I'm married to a Bahamian man. I have kids with the Bahamian man, so I know they automatically Bahamian. But those that are complaining, I think we need to do a show, find out how much of those persons actually voted yes or no, because I think they're the same persons that voted no, because they turned that referendum political. They turned it PLP versus FNM, or FNM versus PLP, rather than the referendum actually spoke about. Because they had lots of town hall meetings, and I listened to them, I went to them, so I could understand what was going on. Men usually, in my view, always perceive as having rights. When they die, their goods also go to the first male child, and so on and so forth for generations. You understand? All of these things, Bahamian men automatically, they try and pick up their Bahamian citizenship and so on and so forth.
No.
Women are now
If you're married.
speaking out
If you're
to
married.
try and get some of that, and now they're complaining, like as if we're not supposed to want anything for ourselves or our fellow women. That's how I'm seeing it. I may be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But if you voted yes, then the time mattered when it counted, we would not be in this situation. But they turn it political, and that's why we are where we are today.
Yep. All right. Thank you. It would be interesting to know the numbers. It'll be hard to get that though. But a lot of people have told us, as Stephen said, people who this would have benefited have told us that they voted no because of many other reasons. Indeed. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Stephen. Good morning, Ron. Good morning. Seattle Johnson again.
Good morning.
Dwight, I've been listening carefully to your guest, Ron, and she moved between constitution, laws, and policies. Each is its own, maybe interdependent, but stands on their own. We often say that the Constitution discriminates. No constitution in the world discriminates against anything. However, we can have an argument concerning equality of enshrined benefits. The Constitution does three things: sex, permits, or prohibits. That's all the Constitution does. Any rights, the Constitution gives no right. It protects rights. Rights are given in law. Anything that the Constitution does not prohibit can be put in law. The discriminatory clause that we want to claim, that's in the Constitution. Are you there?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Just does not exist in the Bahamian Constitution. The fact is, we say that somebody gets automatic citizenship. I've heard ministers and other people even discount this. The Constitution does not give automatic citizenship. It protects the right to citizenship. In the same capacity, so you could argue that it protects this person right, it protects this other person right. But we have a unique Constitution. It says you cannot manage what you cannot measure, but you cannot measure what you refuse to acknowledge. And so it's like for decades, we've been having this conversation. I went in the front of the constitutional people, and I went in the front of these meetings, and they'd say, well, you're correct, but this is what we want to do. You can't be correct, but then you want to fix something that's not broken. And so when we say a woman is denied the right to automatic citizenship, nobody gets automatic citizenship. So if my child is born to a Bahamian man and I'm married to the woman, that child has a protected right to citizenship, but must make application exactly as someone else who is unmarried being born. The difference is one has to show cause for the denial and one does not. But things, because the Constitution does not prohibit any aspect of the citizenship in law, and Dwight, I know you're going to use the argument somebody's going to change it. Well, the law to give a woman who is married to a foreigner hasn't been changed in 49 years. The law that gives me, for my daughters, 12 of them, who was born to me single to foreign women, hasn't changed in 49 years. They can make application. So is it saying that because they have to make an application for consideration that I'm being discriminated against? Because if you look at the Just Soleil law and you look at the Just Sanguius law in the Bahamian Constitution, it's balanced on both sides.
So let's go with what you're saying. So obviously we have a problem, right? In all these years, even though it could be fixed in simple law, nobody has done this yet.
It's already, no, Dwight, it's already in law. What we have is a process problem, because we should not have to take 10 and 20 years to process a person's citizenship. It doesn't change the Constitution, and so all of the facts we have is in practice, not in the Constitution. So why is it that we have, where we say you have to go to a citizenship? And I use this exact same example. Let me show you how weird this is, Dwight.
Really quickly.
A Bahamian child, a child born to a Bahamian male and a Bahamian woman in the Bahamas. The Bahamian male cannot make application for citizenship in law. But according to the argument being made in the public, they have a right to automatic citizenship. But, well, wait, hold a second then. If they have a right to automatic citizenship, how is it I can't get it for them, being born to a Bahamian male and a Bahamian woman?
You mean
right
if they're unmarried, you mean, right?
No, they are not married. But the argument being made is because they were born to a Bahamian woman, they are automatic citizens. And I'm saying to you, that's not true. They have a protected right. Because I went in just to test this theory, even before the lawsuit, carrying in her birth certificate, her passport, my birth certificate, my passport. And I said, I want to make application. And they says, you can't make application to justify citizenship. The mother has to. And I said, here's the evidence of what the mother is and the father is. That's not a constitutional issue. That is a process issue, a procedure issue. And so I'm simply saying this. We have these, I think, about 10 different or 12 different combinations that can come out of a Bahamian man, a Bahamian woman, in country.
Yeah. All right, so see, Alan, you're proving the points we're making, right?
No, but it's not.
No, it's
stop
very
saying
important.
It's the Constitution.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you're proving the point that the fact that we have created this confusion shows that we aren't serious about equality or equity for the genders at all. That there are, depending on the day and the person you talk to, different rules. It's not supposed to be like this. And this is madness. And it's been going on for 50 years. It is foolishness. And something has to be done. Something once and for all. All right? And that was a lot of, and we're still in the same place and not getting any better. So we got a big problem. Big problem, Royanne. A big problem. And
right.
I
And
don't know
so,
if
but
there's a
just
will to
to
fix
drive
it.
home the point, if that is the case, right, is this consistent with what we project to the world as being?
Oh boy, wow. Okay, let's read some messages before we have to take a break. This person says here, your guest talks gender equality but never talks about men's rights. For example, why men never get children in a divorce. So the whole premise of the discussion is biased.
Well, let me address that. Divorce, I mean, I'm not a lawyer, right? That's the first thing. The second thing is that I don't know what the rights are of men as it relates to divorce proceedings. And each divorce proceeding I assume has its own situation and its own characteristics. And I don't think that it's anywhere written in law that men never get rights in divorce proceedings. So that's why I haven't commented on it.
Yeah. All right. My goodness gracious. Okay, no, it's the same. I think that's from C. Allen. Royanne is proving that our brand is hypocritical on every front. Another one here.
I wouldn't say. Let me be clear. It's not every front, and this is not any sort of assault on people who, are in any way responsible for our brand on the world stage and then what we do internally. It is just to bring awareness to the way that I see it, and then to see if other people agree with that. And, this is a part of the process. We are still a very young country, and we're working very hard on the external brand, and we do have a lot of work to do on that end as well, but we cannot neglect the internal brand because that in turn will really feed how the external brand is to be trusted.
Okay. This person says here, okay, here we go. This is the same thing. They say, good morning. Just let me say, for same sex, which nobody was talking about, it'll always be a no. So take it out of your mind. We will never support any ungodly behavior. Let me let you know. Okay. Again, it wasn't discussed here at all today, really. But good to know. Thank you very much. Sure. This one says, your guest is right. She is not qualified to speak on marital law issues. Life... oh boy, life was never about equity.
So you want to know what the real problem is? The real problem is that people don't people. Nobody actually cares about improving the situation because they're just like, wait. It sounds like you want to take something away from me, all right? Because they have so little that every time that somebody moves forward, they think that something is being removed from them. Like, nobody cares about it. The people they voted against these things because they didn't fully understand it. They didn't realize that it did apply to them. And then so when somebody who is not within their people group, however they decide to, draw those lines, they're like, that don't apply to me. So I don't care about that. And y'all only want stuff because y'all lazy and y'all foolish and y'all always trying to change things because y'all going to college and y'all think y'all smarter than everybody else. And all of that is a problem because we have an empathy problem as Bahamians, all right? I don't care about Haitians because I ain't a Haitian. I don't care about women because I ain't a woman. I don't care about gay people because I ain't gay. And you're going to hear that all day, every day, on every talk show that you listen to. But then they will turn around and say, help me because I'm poor and black. And the people who are rich and white have every right. Because we lack empathy. We need to have empathy just because somebody doesn't look like you, doesn't sound like you, didn't have the same background as you, didn't go to a private school, or they didn't go to a public school, or whatever line you decide to draw it upon. If you have a little bit of empathy, like it wouldn't matter that, oh, I'm not a woman, so I don't care about international. No, it'd be like, I'm not a woman, but let me hear what International Women's Day is about. I'm not married, but let me hear what marital rape is about. I'm not whatever it is, but let me hear what it's about and hear why this person is concerned. It's not my job to necessarily answer this because the same way they're saying, oh, Royanne isn't a marriage a lawyer or whatever they said she isn't, right? Yeah, but neither are they because they wouldn't have time to be texting at 9:51 a.m. if they were a lawyer. They'd be working.
You'd be surprised.
I would be startled.
But
right?
I mean, like I said, I'm not a lawyer, but I voted in the referendum.
Yeah, but
right? I'm capable of understanding what the discussion was about, and I voted, so I have an opinion on it.
Yeah, but see, you're trying to approach it through a matter of logic, and this is an emotional topic because for whatever reason, because persons aren't willing to take themselves out of their own shoes and put themselves in somebody else's shoes, they feel attacked because any thread that you pull at this point is you're pulling a thread about my understanding of the world. right? It's the same way where every time I say capitalism, Dwight starts to grow hair to pull out of his head. Right?
No. When you say horrible things about
like what? The
capitalism,
behavior street
like
capitalism, like a religion? That y'all love money more than y'all love God?
What the?
There we go. See? There we go. So here now, right? So when I say things like that, right? You heard Dwight breathing better, right? My whole point is, all I'm asking for is empathy for persons to take themselves from the position that they find themselves in and say, well, I wonder what would make this person say this. Let me hear them out. Maybe we can find some level of common ground.
Yeah.
And until we get to that point, it doesn't matter how many lines of logic you attempt to draw between point A and point B. People are going to be like, no, you said that one thing, and that is not what I believe, or that doesn't apply to me, and so therefore you're trying to destroy my world.
All right, Royanne, I want to take this call, and then I want to get your final words on this. But let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Brian. Good morning, Steve. Good morning, rest of your guests in the morning.
Hi.
Look, under the Supreme, I voted in the referendum. Under the Supreme Law Constitution, a married woman who married to a foreigner, or a woman married to a foreigner, cannot pass on her citizenship. I voted
If the child is born abroad.
Child was born abroad. She cannot pass the citizenship on to the child. Of course.
The child can apply.
Or if he's a foreigner.
The child can apply later. Yeah.
Yeah, she could apply it at 18. That's the problem. But what blocked it during that time was gender equality. If they didn't move that, they didn't add gender equality to it, that would have passed.
Yeah, but
that's the problem.
No, but what do you consider gender equality to mean?
Well, no, that's too early for that. That's too long. Right? Almost got to go to another show, Stephen. But
that was all about gender equality because a married man, a married Bahamian man in the same situation would not have that issue.
But hear me confused. If they didn't add that to it, right? And Stephen?
Well, why? Why? I'm
You
asking
gotta why. That too long. You try to question. Give me an hour. I tell you why. But then again, that would have passed. If put it again, it would pass.
What do you think gender means?
What do you think gender means?
Okay. All right, let's leave that there. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. So, Royanne, we got a brand problem here.
That's not a brand problem.
I mean, in general, so we're saying something, but we're doing the opposite, and vice versa. So, what do we do when we have these fundamental issues?
Well, I think having conversations like this is the first thing, right? Basically, in branding, that internal component is really a big cultural component. The external component is what the experts put together and they project, right? That is what we want people to see. That's what we want people to think, and that is what we want people to act on, to say, I want to go to that country. I want to spend money with that country. I want to invest in that country, right? I want to visit. That's what we project externally, and that's easy to put together and put forward. The internal brand is the cultural component, which takes a longer time to change because it's behavioral. It's things that we hear and we see and we do. That's how we come to treat each other. Same applies with it, whether it's an organization or a country. So it is a matter of keeping the discussion alive, like bringing awareness to it. So we talked about, or there was a caller who mentioned people who voted no in the referendum, or just in any situation you vote to oppose something that is to your benefit. It is bringing awareness to it because you may not understand all the implications, but it's a slow change when you speak about changing cultures and helping to make those cultures more open and more progressive, but essentially to align what we are internally with what we're projecting externally. And I think that will, in turn, help us to drive what we're saying. We're saying we want to have efficiency and equality and openness, but we have to believe that that's who we are and that's what we do.
Yeah. Royanne Dean, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Always a pleasure talking with you. And our monthly brand segment is every fourth Friday each month here on Morning Blend Business. Thank you again. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next month.
Thank you.
All right. When we come back after this and the morning, we're going to need some wine, right? So we're going to give away tickets to the Spring Soiree Grand Tasting at Premier Crew when we get back. All you have to do is answer the trivia question. Stay with us.
on your savings at the bank? With as little as $100, you can start earning interest on your money while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank with the CFAL Savings Express Plan. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
You could win your share of $1,000 and free annual memberships when you apply for your Mobile Assist Visa Travel Rewards Card. It's a prepaid visa that gives you access to travel and online shopping deals worldwide every single day. Enter automatically when you successfully apply through our Mobile Assist app. Use your prepaid visa 5 times or more, and you are automatically entered to win your share of $1,000. See our social media pages for more details. Apply, save, and win with Mobile Assist.
We're good for you.
My business couldn't survive without my credit card machine from Fidelity. It's fast, convenient, and my clients love it. My sales increased, and I can track my earnings. Get your credit card machine from Fidelity today. Call 356-7764.
All right, so let's do this. If you can answer this trivia question, you will win 2 tickets to the Spring Soiree Grand Tasting at Premier Crew Gardens tomorrow, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. And on this special event, Bristol Wines and Spirits Premier Crew and Duckhorn Vineyard. No, you can't. Plus, it would be wasted on you. Do you drink wine, sir?
I don't need it. So they're not having. It's not a fun event. It's only for wine bibbers.
Wine connoisseurs. How dare you use that word? Anyway, so all you have to do is answer this trivia question correctly. How many Bristol locations are there in Grand Bahama, and where are they? Name them, and give us the answer, and you could win. Call in right now, 323-6232, 323-6232, 323-6232. If you know the answer to the question, how many Bristol locations in Grand Bahama, and name the locations. You will win these 2 tickets to the Spring Soiree Grand Tasting tomorrow at 6 p.m. Give us a call. Let's see if this person has an answer to the trivia question. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Do you have an answer to the question? Okay, call us back, 323-6232. 323-6232. Yeah. Just reading over some of the last questions here, these last points here. This is disturbing stuff. Boy. We're going to end the show on a sour note if I read these text messages. Let's not do that. Let's go to the trivia, see if this person has the answer. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Yeah. Okay. Lots of talking. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Do you have an answer to the trivia question?
I think I do.
Okay.
In Grand Bahama, I think there's only one.
Yeah? Where is it?
One left, and it's on Cedar Street.
We're going to give it to you. Thank you very much, caller. We'll get your name and number, and you can come to pick up your tickets anytime after 11:30 today. All right? So stay on the line. Our producers can get your name and number. All right.
Okay. All right.
There you go, folks. So we ended on a happier note. Stephen, thank you so much for being here this morning.
I guess it's happier.
What is your...
Because you never know. You're walking down the road at night, who the stranger may be.
Wow. Okay, see, why are you going back down there?
Because it's important that people know how ridiculous they sound.
No reason to do that.
Like, I want you to know, if I ever get attacked in life, like physically accosted, I'm going
We're
to
ending
blame
on
it
a happy
on
note.
them. I'm going to
We're
say
ending it on a happy note.
the Koi party attacked me.
No, why did you say that? Okay, no, Stephen. Every
now it's
Friday.
that you need to protect me. Don't they want to protect me here?
Oh, good Lord. Okay,
Protect me.
Tune in Monday, folks, for a
me get
very,
hurt, guys.
very, very special edition of Morning Blend. You don't want to miss it. From the time we start till the end of the show, it's going to be a great show, and I believe Stephen's going to be here too, right? So we're all going to tune in. That's all I can say. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be very important. Morning Blend on Monday morning. Everybody have a great weekend. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green coming up next.